Good morning and welcome everyone to Federal Bank online chess competition. The tournament is only for the Federal Bank employees and their family members. It's an 8-round Swiss League event. The time control is 10 minutes plus 0 second of increment. Total 138 players have registered for the event. First round will start at 11 a.m. The chief arbiter is international arbiter Ashit Bharan Chaudhary. And now I will just quickly go through the players. Rubul G is the name of Rubul Gogoi. He is from Jorhat branch in the Guwahati region. Next we have Nishant 2020. Nishant is his name is Nishant Pradeep. He is the brother of Prashant Pradeep from Jamshedpur branch of Dhanbad cluster. Then we have Kiran 06. He's Kiran Shukla is the spouse of Nikhil Tiwari from Nadigaon branch, Balasore cluster. Then we have Maulik Deb. That is also his real name, Maulik Deb. He is the son of Priyatosh Deb, Tinshukia branch from Guwahati region. Then we have Pritam K. Deb, Pritam Kanti Deb. He is from Shillong and that is also from the Guwahati region. Then we have Abhishek Kumar 26. Abhishek Kumar is from the Guwahati branch, from the Guwahati region. Next is Ropit. Ropit Tandon is from the Kolkata Credit Hub branch and he is from the zonal office region. Then we have G Matthew 87. G Matthew is okay, I think he is Deepur Joseph Matthew from Tezpur branch, Guwahati region. Then we have VD123. Let's see who is VD123. Vidisha Mishra, daughter of Ganesh Kumar Mishra from Kolkata CR Avenue branch of the Kolkata region. Then we have Krishna Prasad 0013. Krishna Prasad So we have two players who have registered, but Krishna Prasad I am unable to find. It could be either Sri Krishna Sharma or Advait Krishna. Anyway, let's move on to the next set of players. Samchetri 17. Okay, this is also not in my list. Tejo underscore M. Unable to find him. Okay, next we have Anil 3459. That is Anil Kumar Sahu. He is from Paradeep branch of the Bhubaneswar region. Then we have Shitakanto 01. Okay, not in the list. Bhargav 0038. That is Bhargav Jyoti Saikia. from Tezpur branch of the Guwahati region. Then we have Shivam Singh Kashyap, I guess. Let me check. Yeah, yeah. He is the brother of Kishan Kanhaiya, Nisha branch from Dhanbad cluster. Kishan Fed. Let's say Kishan is from where? So that is Kishan Kanhaiya. Shivam is his brother, and Kishan Kanhaiya, he is the employee from Nisha branch of the Dhanbad cluster. Then we have Devjyoti 03. Devjyoti Bukshi from Bardhaman branch of the Bardhaman cluster. And next we have Anup Anthony. Okay, Anup Anthony is the daughter Annilyn Maria Anup. She is the daughter of Anup Anthony from Shiliguri branch of Kolkata region. So these are the top 20 players. We will definitely see the remaining players. But before we see who all are the remaining players, let's see the message from the Federal Bank officers, what they have to say about today's event.
COVID, lockdown, containment zone. These are the most commonly used words nowadays. Yes, this pandemic is going to stay for some time, and it has taken out many of our activities. But the highly tech-savvy team of Federal Bank has gone ahead with a virtual platform for all its meetings, like Microsoft Teams, webinars, etc. Now we are going ahead with our recreational activities online. The first is the online chess championship for all the employees and their family members in our Kolkata zone. The zone contains of 10 states, including the northeast states. This unique event is going to start soon. More than 150 enthusiastic participants have already registered. We look forward to a wonderful event. There we will be honoring with attractive prizes, and the youngest and the oldest participant will also be honored. Let's hope one Judith Polgar or a Carlson may emerge from our young bunch. Wishing all the participants all the very best and looking forward to the first move. Let's checkmate.
Hi everyone, I am Sajjan KP, Regional Head, Kolkata. Our Kolkata zone is coming up with this program, chess competition. This is a wonderful program which is happening in the bank first time as per my information. And this is a program which facilitates participation of all the federals and all the federal family members, which will help to have a very deep understanding and bonding among entire federal family members. So I am very happy to welcome all participants into this wonderful competition, and I wish all the participants a big success in the competition. Thank you.
At this very outset, let me take this opportunity to thank the zonal HR and our zonal head to come out with this unique concept of employee engaged program. Definitely a test of its first of its kind during these distraught times when the entire world is engulfed under the common umbrella of the COVID pandemic. And what better than a rapid fire chess tournament to judge the mental ability of the individual, which is one's greatest ability rather than the physical ability. It is really heartening to see the enthusiasm that is generated from the event based on the encouraging numbers of registered participants, including the large number of family members, be it senior or junior, who have come forward. So here's wishing each and every contestant all the very best. Remember, talent wins games, but intelligence wins championship. I'll wind up by greeting each and everyone a happy Onam. Stay safe, take care and move forward. good times will be back again sooner rather than later. Thank you.
Today is the day of federal minds, so expecting lot of smart movements, confidence, patience, success, failures, etc. So good initiative by zonal team, me and my entire team in the gallery for your support. All the best.
Hi everybody. Online Blitz Chess Championship is being conducted this Sunday, 30th of August. Day after tomorrow. It's a very good initiative of HR for the first time happening in our zone. Across the bank, it has not happened so far. The purpose is to have some enjoyment, to have some fun on a Sunday through online chess. This championship is being participated by our staff members, relatives of staff members only. The vibrancy is already visible. WhatsApp groups are opened, and I have been watching the fun, the competition by challengers. So many good, funny things are happening there, and I hope this vibrancy to continue on Sunday also. Let us enjoy the full day. Let us actively participate in the event to make it a successful one, to make it a memorable one. The best of my wishes goes with all the participants.
Good morning all. Myself Neeraj Kantarao, the cluster head Balasar cluster. As you know, every year bank used to conduct various activities for the staffs and their family members across the zone, across the bank under staff engagement activities. Due to COVID-19 pandemic, this year we are conducting various activities through online platform. We are the federals and our spirits is always high. Under the staff engagement activities, we are conducting an online tournament, online chess tournament. And thank you all for participating in big numbers, and it seems the willingness towards the big event. Thanks to HR team for conducting such a big event under the leadership of your great leader Dilip sir. And friends, let's play the game. Happy winning. Thank you all.
Hi everyone. Our HR has organized one online chess competition on this coming Sunday where all the federals along with the family members will be participating in the game. And this kind of activity by our HR may be the first one in the bank, and we have started in our zone, and this will be quite interesting, and everybody is quite thrilled to win over the game. And in this pandemic situation, when any kind of outdoor activities is not possible, this kind of activity organized by our HR is definitely one welcome step. My best wishes with all the federals. Thank you.
It gives me a great pleasure to be a part of such wonderful initiative taken by our HR team with the full support from our zonal head Dilip sir. In this pandemic situations where we all are working by risking our life and indirectly serving our nation, this tournament will act as a stress reliever. It is more interesting that in this tournament our family members are participating. This is a perfect example of that, why we call that we are federal family. I am requesting my HR team, they will come out of such more initiative in near future. Best of luck to all, and thank you.
So that was the message from the officers of Federal Bank. Now we will take a look at the players from the 21st seed. 21st seed is Kush Singh 2, and that is Kush Kumar Singh. He is from Sivan branch of the Patna cluster. Next is Shubham 90. Shubham 90 is Shubham Raj, also from Sivan branch of the Patna cluster. Then we have Soma G, that is Shoma Gudia, Kolkata zonal office. She is from Kolkata zonal office, and she is the wife of Gopal Guria. Next is Kaushik Tagore. Kaushik Ghosh Tagore is the husband of Mrs. Bornali De. He is from the branch, Guwahati Beltola branch of the Guwahati region. The next player is Kaustav 77. He is Kaustav Mohanty from the zonal office Kolkata of the zonal office Kolkata region. The next player is Avinash Linga. Avinash Chaudhary L is from Paradeep branch of the Bhubaneswar region. Abhras 020. Obro Shen is from COB Kolkata branch from Bhubaneswar region. The next player is Chandrajit Fed. Mr. Chandrajit Talukdar is of Beltola Guwahati branch of the Guwahati region. Suman Singh 09 is the next player. Sumant is from the Ranchi branch of Dhanbad cluster. He is the brother of Amit. The 38th seed is Ritvik Juardar. Ritvik Juardar is the brother of Abhishek Juardar, who is from Bardhaman branch of the Bardhaman cluster region. Let's see the next set of players. So the first round is going to start in less than 12 minutes. Total 8 rounds will be there. The gap between each round is of only 1 minute. Time control is 10 minutes each. Remember, this tournament is organized by Federal Bank, and it is only open to the Federal Bank employees and their family members. So it's an intra event. 31st seed is Rajesh 9132. Rajesh Kumar Shahu from Bhubaneswar branch of the Bhubaneswar region. Sudipto D. Sudipto Das is of the Kolkata Credit Hub branch from zonal office Kolkata region. The next player is Indrajit S. Indrajit Singh is from the Govindpur branch of the Dhanbad cluster. James GP 9987. James George P. James George P is CCSC branch of the zonal office Kolkata. The next player is Deepu JM. Deepu Joseph Matthew. He is from the Tezpur branch of the Guwahati region. Senlem Z. Senlem Z is Osenla Lemtor. He is from the Dimapur branch of the Guwahati region. The next player is Advait Krishna S. I'm sorry, I missed someone. Yeah, Mr. Vision. Mr. underscore Vision. He is Deepak Vision from the Ranchi branch of the Dhanbad cluster. The next player is Amarjit 1962. Just a moment. Advait Krishna is from the Kolkata Park Street branch of the Kolkata region. The next player is Nigel James. Nigel James is from the Shillong branch of the Guwahati region. Moving on to the next set of players, we just have less than 8 minutes to go for round 1 to start. Advait Krishna is from the Kolkata Park Street branch. Yeah, sound seems to be quite fine on my end. In case if anyone is still having a low volume of my voice, please let me know in the chat so that I can look into it. Okay, the next set of players is Talimua 123. El Talimua is from the Dimapur branch of the Guwahati region. Shinchan underscore Datta 38. Shinchan Datta is the son of Partha Sharathi Datta from Zonal Office Kolkata and also from the same region, Zonal Office Kolkata. Swati Bahet is the next player. Swati Baheti is of the Kolkata Credit Hub branch. She is from the Kolkata Zonal Office Kolkata region. Next one is Aravindan 1399. Aravindan VN Aravindan Mudalia is from Bhagwanpur branch of the Patna cluster. Next is Ria B92. Ria Bhattacharya is from the Bardhaman branch of the Bardhaman cluster. Next one is Gio Pagla. That's quite a funny leech's alias. He is Rahul Bishras from Tezpur branch of the Guwahati region. Next is Saurav BH. Saurav Bhattacharya is from the Tezpur branch of the Guwahati region. The next player is Neha Ann. Neha Ann Anup is the daughter of Anup Anthony, and I think she is the youngest player taking part in this event. She is just 6 years old, so definitely you should cheer for Neha. She is from Anup Anthony is from Siliguri branch of the Kolkata region. The next player is Abhishek Shaha. Abhishek Shaha is from the Kolkata Bibidibag branch of the Kolkata region. Ankit KJ. Ankit Kumar Jha is of CAD Kolkata branch from the Zonal Office Kolkata region. Moving on to the next set of players. We just have over 4 minutes left. Even if I am unable to finish reading out all 139 players' name, don't worry. During the matches, I will definitely mention who is from which particular branch and which region. Ashish Fed. Ashish Gupta is of Dimapur branch of the Guwahati region. Ishwita Haldar is of the Bardhaman branch from Bardhaman cluster. Shomodip underscore Sarkar. Shomodip Sarkar is of the Kolkata CR Revenue branch from the Kolkata region. The next player is Shayan 2091. Shayan Muzumdar of the CCSC branch from Zonal Office Kolkata. BDR 007, that is Baparittu Roy of Zonal Office Kolkata, from the Zonal Office Kolkata region. Phantom LX, that is Purbana Lakha Kalita, son of Lakha Jyoti Kalita from Guwahati branch of the Guwahati region. Sanjay 4U007. Sanjay is, I guess, a fan of James Bond because of 007. Sanjay Kumar is of the Siwan district from the Patna cluster. Next is Rituban R. Rituban R is Rituban Rakshit of Shilpukuri branch of the Guwahati region. Akash 1201. Akash 1201 is Akash Gupta of the Zonal Office Kolkata, also from the same region, Zonal Office Kolkata. Noku 2019, Amitesh Abhinav. He is from the Kolkata Badabazar branch of the Kolkata region. Rakesh 9868, that is Rakesh Kumar of the Bhubaneswar branch and also from the Bhubaneswar region. Moving on to the next set of players, Sri R. Srinivas Raju M of the Dimapur branch from the Guwahati region. Amit 10654, that is Amit Kumar of the Balasore branch and Balasore cluster region. Arnob S22, that is Arnob Ghosh of the Kolkata Zonal Office branch and also the region. Manoj MK. Manoj MK is Manoj Kumar Mahapatra. His son Siddharth Mahapatra is playing this event from the Zonal Office Kolkata branch and also the same Zonal Office Kolkata region. Shyam RC. Shyam RC is Shyam Roy Chaudhary. He is from the Jorhat branch of the Guwahati region. Sri Krishna Dash Sharma. Sri Krishna Sharma K is of the LCRD Kolkata division branch from the Zonal Office Kolkata. Vanlal Malsauma is of the Aizawl branch from the Guwahati region. Ajit Kumar 1. Ajit Kumar is from the Bokaro Steel City branch of the Dhanbad cluster. We just have over 20 seconds left for the round 1 to begin. Smarajit 1952. That is Smarajit Bhattacharya, father of Jishnu Bhattacharya. He is playing from Silpuguri branch, Guwahati region. So we are about to begin the tournament. Good luck everyone. May the best man or woman win the event. And we have 70 games at the beginning of round 1. Let's see this one, which started first. Avinash Linga versus B. Shukanto. Let's see, Avinash is from where? Avinash Chaudhary L is from Paradeep branch of the Bhubaneswar region and he is playing against B. Shukanto. Shukanto Bhattacharya is of the Newmarket branch from the Kolkata region. And we can see that White has managed to control the center and but he has only pushed the pawns. He hasn't developed the knight and bishop yet. Black has managed to develop both and White gained a pawn at b5 for free. Bishop takes b5. Black goes with c5, controlling the d4 square. So while the players are thinking, I am going to just see the chat messages. Baby Joseph sends best wishes to Nehan, the youngest participant. Yes, Neha is 6 years. Oops, queen d5. I'm not sure if it is the best idea because black has something. Black should have captured the queen, but Shukanto missed it. He retreated the knight back. Okay, Banerjee says all the best to all participants. White managed to retrieve the queen. White understood that he was on the verge of losing the queen, and black is repeating the moves, hoping that white would play queen d5 again. But of course, white is not going to repeat the same mistake. Bishop f4, the e5 knight is under attack. Let's see how black responds to it. Black again retreated, knight to c6. Knight a3. Pranay Kumar Datta wishes the best to everyone. Ganesh Mishra also wishes the best to all. g5, and the bishop retreated back to e3. Knight f6, queen d2. Maybe white wants to do a long castle, I guess. Bishop g7. So black has managed to develop all his minor pieces. The knight at f6 is in a pin. It will be interesting to see whether black castles here or not. But no, knight e5 again. For the third time in the game, I guess. Let me check. Once, twice. Yeah, third time. First time was a capture. White offered an exchange, knight c4, and also making some deadly threats. But black decided no, it's better to get rid of it. Knight takes c4, bishop takes c4. Both kings are at the center of the board, so castling is definitely in the cards. But let's see who will castle first. Queen f5. It doesn't make any kind of immediate threat at the moment. a4, rook d8, rook d1. There is no threat immediately. Yeah, black took the free pawn. Queen takes a4, bishop takes f6, bishop takes f6, I guess. Yes. And now white should play something like queen f4, queen d6, or maybe queen h6. Yeah, queen f4 was played. Doesn't make any kind of immediate threat. Dhruv Nair, Rajiv Shaha, I am hearing clearly over here. Maybe try increasing the volume on your system, I would say. So both sides took their bishops. White took black's bishop on f6, and black also took white's bishop on c4. Black's king has nowhere to go, but queen e5 is not a checkmate, as black can defend it by playing queen e6, and that is exactly what black played. But white decided to grab the free pawn at c5. d6, queen b5 check, but the bishop will not drop because black has rook d7 as well as queen d7. Yes, and definitely Shukanto saw it and saved the bishop from being captured. Well, I think yeah, white should not exchange the queens for obvious reasons, because it is white who is attacking in this position. What white needs to do is develop the knight. Yes, and that is exactly what he did. Knight e2, and then castle, put the king into safety. Knight f4, knight d5, knight f6, or knight h5, knight f6. That's the idea. Maybe black will play a4 and try to disturb the queen or something. White's position is fantastic here because white's king is absolutely safe, although it is still at the center of the board, but it cannot be attacked by any means. However, black's king is not at all safe. It is at the center of the board and it has very limited squares where it can go. I think knight h5 is definitely a safe capture for white with the threat of knight f6 at the next move. Let's see how white responds. Castling is definitely something worth considering for Avinash, but I'm not sure if the players are aware of the castling term. Anyway, so white played queen b6, bishop a4 attacking the rook, knight d5 finally, and if black takes it, it's a bad idea. Knight f6 and the queen is gone. Let's see if white can spot it. Absolutely he did. That is the reason I think he played knight d5 the moment black moved the bishop out of the way, so that now he can take the queen easily. So even if black takes the knight either with rook d7 or king d7, white will simply take the bishop, king d1, and now white is completely winning. White has a queen against a rook. White has a huge material advantage, but white needs to bring the rook into action. Rook e1 maybe. Okay, king c1 is also fine, but you need to bring the rook into action. Rook e1 is definitely the call of the hour. Rook a8, maybe black is threatening for a3, but it doesn't help. Yeah, white can just simply take it. There is not a lot of threat. Perhaps king b2 first and then go e5. Yeah, e5 at first is also fine. There's nothing wrong with it. And now rook e5 check. Yeah, I think white should be able to do checkmate. King f8, queen h6, king g8, rook e8 went. Maybe white will give a check at b8, but oh no, white definitely spotted it. Fantastic. Queen h6, king g8 is forced, king e8, king g8, rook e8, and it's over. Yeah, rook g5 is the other way to deliver the checkmate. Fantastic game by Avinash. So it's quite strong. Anyway, let's see the next game between Rubul G versus Ganesh 83. Rubul G is Rubul Gogoi of the Jorhat branch from the Guwahati region, and Ganesh 83 is Ganesh Kumar Mishra from the Kolkata branch of the Kolkata region. So this was the top game selected by Leeches. This was not selected by me or anyone else, players, arbiter, anyone, because Leeches, for those who are unaware, completely works based on AI. So it detects which is the most interesting game of a particular round, and then it shows on the top right of the screen on the tournament page. So you can see that black has, I don't know, 1 2 3 2 pawns extra. So black is ahead by 2 pawns. You can see there's a huge cluster of pawns at the center of the board. Yeah, black should take the d4 pawn, or before taking the d4 pawn, of course rook h2 is better, because now black is gaining the d2 pawn for free. Siddharth Pati says, way to go Avinash sir, Team Paradeep. Team Paradeep is lit. Yes, Team Paradeep definitely scored the first point in round 1. King e3, and now d2 can be captured either by the knight or by the rook. I think I would say capturing with the rook is a better idea, but then again, even if you capture with the knight, there is absolutely nothing wrong. Okay, so black played a rook c7 first. Black did not take. His idea was to deliver a checkmate. He was not interested in capturing material, which is very good. But at that particular position, taking on d2 was definitely a good idea. Anyway, black is still completely winning. Now he is ahead by 3 pawns. Rook e1 and rook h3 should be a checkmate. It would have been over, but he played c4. Anyway, in the next move also he can deliver rook 7 h3 and it will be a checkmate. Will he play now, or will he take d2? Yep, rook 7 h3. Okay, now he has just a formality, knight f3, and then he will take the knight with the rook and it will be a checkmate. Yep. So Rubul Gogoi picks up his first victory of the tournament, and the game is over. Let's move on to the next game. The next game is between Sweta Kumar versus Nishant 2020. Let's see who is Sweta Kumar. That is Kumarjit Shatpati from Bhubaneswar Chandrashekarpur branch of the Bhubaneswar region, and his opponent is Nishant. Nishant Pradeep is the brother of Prashant Pradeep from Jamshedpur branch of the Dhanbad cluster. Well, the black is completely winning in this position. He is ahead by 1 rook, 2 knight, and a few more pawns. And he is also ahead in time. He should win this comfortably. The idea should be bring the c3 knight to d5 and then play b6 to deliver the checkmate. Let's see if he can spot it. H4. Black has a checkmate in 2. Rook b2, he wants to capture b3 and then deliver b6 checkmate. Well, that is also a fine idea. Absolutely fine, there's nothing wrong with it, and I don't see any way for white to defend it. So Nishant is definitely going to win this. It's just a matter of time. And speaking of time, he is ahead by almost 5.5 minutes. So in time also he is winning. And you can see that next to the player's name, some numbers are displayed over here. So that is the rating. That means in leeches they have played a few matches which help them to gain their rating. So knight 3 d5 check, king a7, and white is trying to hide the king at the corner. Now black can still deliver the checkmate, knight b4, knight c6. But obviously black has to spot it. And there's no way for the white king to escape the checkmate. e4 was played, attacking the knight, so that only helps black to find out that yes, knight has to be moved. Knight b4 was played. Now the idea is simple, knight wants to come back to c6. Yes, our chief arbiter for the tournament, international arbiter Oshin Pawan Chaudhary, has mentioned that the youngest participant is Neha and Anup, 6 years old, and senior most participant of the event is Smarajit Bhattacharya. Smarajit is 67 years old. So knight c6, and that's a checkmate. It's a discover checkmate. You can see that black moved the knight from b4, but the knight did not deliver the check. The rook gave the check, so that's a discover check. Anyway, let's move on to the next game. So the next game which is going on is between ABM 1312 and Khushbu. Let's see who is ABM. ABM's name is not in my list. Let's see if Khushbu's name is there. Yes, Khushbu Pancharia is of Bokaro Steel City branch from Dhanbad cluster. So ABM 1312 is completely winning this. He's ahead. He has a huge material advantage. And I'm assuming it's a he. ABM can be a she also, so I'm not sure. And white can take the h6 rook for free here. Yes, players remember the next round will start automatically after all games of round 1 gets over. So just wait for a while. Our chief arbiter will start the round as soon as all games of round 1 is over. There will be a 1 minute gap, of course, and after that the round 2 will start. Anyway, so queen takes h6, e takes f4. Now white needs to bring the remaining pieces, knight and bishop, and perhaps develop the queenside knight and bishop also, because delivering checkmate with one queen will not be easy. Black is quite low on time. She has just less than 15 seconds left on the clock, and b5 allows white to take the rook on a8. White should simply capture it, because I don't see a better move than capturing the rook. But white decided, no, I will not capture, I'll play c4. Anyway, black has 9 seconds. ABM can still capture the rook. This is his second chance. But no, I think he wants to play c6 check. And finally Khushbu saw that her rook was under attack. White took on d6, c takes d6, c takes d6, queen takes d6, king e8. Does not have king e8 is the only move, but black has run out of time, and that gives away a victory to ABM. Anyway, let's see the next game. The next game is between Indrajit S. K. Dirasari. Let's see who is K. Dirasari. Kuldeep Dirasari is from RCH Guwahati branch of the Guwahati region. and his opponent is Indrajit S. Indrajit Singh is of Govindpur branch of the Dhanbad cluster. So this is Guwahati versus Dhanbad. Rook h1 and next move will be a checkmate. Black has only one move, that is bishop h2. That's the forced move. After bishop h2, white will just simply capture it and deliver the checkmate. Anyway, let's see the next game. Mridusmita 09 versus Swati Mehet. Mridusmita Bora Silpukuri branch of the Guwahati region, and her opponent is Swati Baheti of the Kolkata Credit Hub branch from the zonal office Kolkata. Well, black can promote a queen in one move. A1 queen is there. Black is completely winning. Okay, king b2. So Mridusmita managed to prevent the a2 pawn from being promoted, but Swati can still promote the e pawn. And now a1 queen check would be a good idea. King has only two options, c2 and b4. Yeah, of course, when you are only having one king left on the board, it's better to move the king towards the center. And Swati has to be extremely careful not to do a stalemate. The best way to avoid a stalemate is to continuously keep giving checks. That way you can make sure that you will not run out of moves. Your opponent's king will definitely have somewhere to go. And now black can play queen d4 check, king f5, queen d5, and that should lead to a checkmate. Queen c6, king has only one square, king f5, and now maybe queen e6. Bishop d4 or bishop f4, anything is fine. You have to push the king to the corner, then it will be easier to deliver the checkmate. King g7, yeah. And now queen h6 is a checkmate. Queen c7 was split, king h8, bishop d4 should be a checkmate. Yes, and game is over. So Swati Baheti won. Let's see the next game, Noku 2019 versus Partho PV. Who is Noku? That is Amitesh Abhinav from Kolkata Bada Bazaar branch of the Kolkata region, and his opponent is Partha PV, Parthapatim Bishas from Kolkata Sierra Avenue branch of the Kolkata region. White is completely winning, but it is going to be an extremely interesting finish because white has only 12 seconds left on the clock. Black has over 50 seconds left. So white has to be very quick. So this is what makes the entire game interesting. 10 seconds left. What do you think? Can Parthapratim win this game? No, not Parthapratim. I mean Abhinav. Abhinav have just 6 seconds left, and I don't see any clear checkmate which you can deliver in just 6 seconds. So white has to be very quick. Queen f5 should be played. I think a lot of players are unaware of pre-move. Pre-move is when you are sure that this move you will play in the next move, then you can make it before your opponent plays it. Of course, it will not be made immediately, but immediately after your opponent makes it, the move will be played on the board. But unfortunately, despite getting a winning position, white was unable to win the game because he ran out of time. So Parthapratim walks away with the full point. So last game of round 1 is going on. After this, there will be 1 minute break, and then round 2 will start. And yeah, black was completely winning. Ritvik Jwardar was completely winning against Senlem Z. Ritvik is from Bardhaman branch. He is the brother of Abhishek Jwardar of the Bardhaman cluster. Senlem Z is A. Lemter from Dimapur, Guwahati region. So that was the end of round 1. We have 141 players. 1 minute break has started. Let's see how many players have scored a victory in round 1. Most importantly, how many draws were there? So 69 victors in round 1, and there were only 4 draws, and 73 to 141, that is around about 68, 69 players. 69 players at 0 points and 69 at 1 point. So round 2 is just going to begin. Just over less than 20 seconds left. So let us know your prediction. Who do you think will win the tournament? You can cheer for your region, your friend, your family member, whoever is playing in this tournament. Less than 5 seconds to go for round 2 to begin. And yes, so 65 games are there in round 2, which has started so far. Let's see which game starts first. Okay, we'll take a look at this one. Is Sarathi versus Swati Behti. Is Sarathi is Shokti Sarathi Giri, Jajpur Road branch of the Balasoy cluster. So first 4 moves were made by only the pawns by Sarathi, but Swati developed her queen also, and that's the 5th pawn in 5th consecutive moves. So white is not in a hurry to develop the minor pieces. He just wants to develop the... Okay, so finally he developed a minor piece, bishop a3, attacking the queen. So that is why golden rules of chess says that you should not develop your queen early, because it's a major piece and one of the most important pieces in the game. If you develop it too early, then of course it is in the danger of being attacked by various opponent's pieces. White exactly did that. White played queen d2, but the difference is the queen at d2 cannot be attacked by any means. The reason behind queen d2 is quite simple. White wanted to defend the e3 pawn. Anyway, black played e6, white gave a check, bishop b5. Let's see how black responds. Of course, black should not move the king. c6 was played. Now white should definitely move the bishop away. Bishop e2. Bishop's value is 3 times of a pawn. Bishop's value is 3 points and pawn's value is only 1. And generally, for easy understanding purpose, we consider the currency of pieces as pawns. So 1 bishop is equals to 3 pawns. Similarly, 1 knight is also equal to 3 pawns and so on. Anyway, so black developed the knight at h6. Maybe knight wants to go to f5, g3 and attack the rook. And also when black plays knight f5, and the f5 knight will also attack the e3 pawn. Not only that, black is keeping the option open to castle on the king side of the board. So this is the opening stage. Knight f5 was played, sticking to the idea. Oops, queen d2, and now e3 will drop. Although black played knight g3, rook has a square to go, that is h2. But I think black should have taken the e3 pawn because yeah, it's a free pawn and there is no trouble for black. Black would have simply gained a pawn. Anyway, black can still try to gain it by playing knight f5, but king f2 is obviously there to defend the pawn. Knight e4 was played, attacking the queen. Of course, the queen has a lot of safe squares, d1, c1, d3. 3 options are there. So yeah, white decided to bring the queen back home. That is the d1 square. Now what will black do? Black needs to develop the pieces. Knight a6 is there, g5, f5, b5, so many options are there. I like black's position in this moment because black's pieces are definitely much well placed than white's. Although pawn structure is a bit strange because the f6 pawn, if it is on f5, then it's definitely better, because the pawn at f6 is blocking the g7 bishop's path. Bishop e2 was played, developing the bishop. Black needs to do something over here, launch some kind of attack. Maybe g5 is quite interesting. Sorry, not bishop e2, knight f3 was played. While the players are thinking, let me give you one good piece of information. That is, India has qualified for FIDE Online Olympiad Finals. This is the first time the online chess Olympiad is taking place, and the finals will start today at 4:30 p.m. India will play against Russia. So those who are very much interested, they can definitely tune in to live commentary at various channels to watch India versus Russia. Knight g1, knight g3, and e3 is hanging. Black can definitely take it. Queen e3, and the knight will not drop, but the rook will drop, I think, because queen e3, knight e2, knight e2, bishop e2, or queen e2, whatever. Queen g1 check, and h2 rook drops. Let's see if Swati can spot it. Rook a6. I think queen e3 was a better idea, and it still is. Black can still take the e3 pawn for free, because there are no repercussions for taking the e3 pawn, and black still didn't take it. A4 was played. Let's see if Sarathi can defend it. Nope, he did not. Oops. What happens to the fate of the g3 knight? Yes. So Swati was completely winning if she had taken the e3 pawn before, but now she can take it, but it doesn't make much of a difference. Rook a3, that's quite interesting. Knight a3, and then b2, queen e3. Oops, rook g6. White capture on g6 to attack g7, and I think black should play b2 now, or queen e3 check. Yeah, I think queen e3 check is a better idea. Because queen e3 check creates a fork and the future threat of b2, which will be quite dangerous. Yes, b2 was played. White can take the rook on a3. Nope. White took the bishop. Rook takes g7. B takes a1, and black has managed to promote a queen. Fantastic. Now black is completely winning. It is Swati's game to win. Sarathi had a difficult position, then he managed to get a winning position, but he completely overlooked his queenside proceedings, which allowed Swati to promote her queen on a1. White can try to create some trouble with bishop h5 check, but that wouldn't have created much because black would have run away with the king, king d8, and so on. Anyway, black took on a2, but I don't think that pawn was of any consequence. It would have been much better if black had taken on e3. Queen e3 was much better, but yeah, still white is in deep trouble. After king e2, black can play queen f5, attacking the g6 rook as well as threatening to play rook c2 in the next move. So a lot of options are there. Even queen b2 is also fine. Anything is fine for black, provided as long as black does not blunder a piece. Yeah, rook b2 is also fine. Rook b2, queen f5 is, it's a huge advantage for black. Yes, Dhruv Nair, it is definitely a glorious moment for us, because in Chess Olympiad, India has never been in a gold and silver medal contention. India has won a bronze medal before in the year 2014, that is Tromsø Olympiad in Norway. So rook g3, rook b1, and white drops another knight. It should be completely winning for black now. It's just a matter of time. Yeah, queen a6 check is an interesting move. Although b6 is also good, developing the bishop to a6. That could be, I think, a very subtle and interesting move. Rook e1 check, but that drops the rook for free. Rook g1, yes, that could have been played in the previous move also. Bishop g4, h takes g4, or queen f1 checkmate. Yeah, queen f1 checkmate is there. Let's see if black takes the material or delivers the checkmate. Rook d1, that's strange move, because white can play bishop d1 or queen d1, anything. What will white do? And if white takes on e6, black will take on d2. The safest option for white is definitely to take on d1. Bishop d1 is definitely worth considering because white is oops king e2. Now black can easily take the queen, rook d2, and it comes with a check also. So after rook d2, king d2, black has ample amount of time to take on g4. But no, Swati decided to take on g4 first. H takes g4. Okay, this is also winning, but better move was rook d2. What will white do now? Will white okay f5? Now black should take rook d2. Nope, not yet. Queen f5, threatening queen f1 checkmate. Salsi should take queen d1 now. But of course, that will not change the result by a lot. It will only give white extended amount of time to survive a bit longer. Rook f3, g takes f3 check. Rook d2 check is also fine. Anything is fine. Black can take either the rook at f3 or the queen at d2. Either way, black is completely winning. Queen e6. Okay, that's a strange choice. Capturing would have been better. Anyway, now black should take it. Rook d2. Nope. h4. h4 was captured, but white should take the rook at d1, I think. Queen d1, queen d1, king d1, queen e3. That should be completely winning for black. What should white do now? White does not have a lot of options over here, so yeah, g3 was played attacking the rook. Maybe rook h1. Yes, rook h1, consolidating the support on d1 and threatening rook e1, queen e1, followed by rook e1, king d2, queen e3 checkmate. Rook g2. Okay, now either rook to e1 is fine, even rook d2 is also fine. Okay, rook he1, king has two options, f2 and d3, king f2, queen f5 mate. Yeah, rook d2 is also a checkmate. So Swati won the second round. Let's see the next game between Akash 1201 versus G Matthew 87. Akash is Akash Gupta from Zonal Office Kolkata of the same region, and his opponent is G Matthew, that is Deepu Joseph Matthew of the Tezpur branch of the Guwahati region. Akash Gupta is completely winning this game. He has advantage in both time and position. Queen a3 check will drop the b3 knight. Let's see if you can spot it. Queen d5 check is fine, but the knight is not dropping because black has king b4 or king f4. Yes. Now queen c4 check will drop the knight, because black will be forced to lose the support of the knight by playing king a5, but he played queen e4 check. Well, now black is free to move the king. Knight d4 is a bad idea because you should not deliberately put your pieces in a pin. Knight d4 will be met with e3, and then Siddharth Pati says done with round 2. What happened, Siddharth? I hope you won. Queen e4 check. King should retreat back to b5 or a5. Knight d4, bd4 both will run into e3. Queen f5 check, and now the f2 bishop will fall or not because black can defend it by playing bishop c5. Well, generally, like I said in the previous move, putting the piece in a pin is a bad idea. However, in this particular position, there's no way for black to save the bishop if he didn't play bishop c5. And as you can see, black decided to move the king to c4, and Akash managed to capture the f2 bishop with queen f2. So black is running out of time. The time difference is almost 5 minutes. It is definitely Akash's game to win. because he is ahead by a queen. Knight d4. It is time for white to bring out more pieces. Queen alone cannot help you win the entire game. Bishop b2 perhaps is a good idea. Yeah, bishop e3 is also fine, but I would have preferred to, keep the queen's path open towards the king. Bishop e3. Knight needs to move. Yeah, black can also defend the knight by playing rook d8, knight b3, king c2 perhaps, so that the rook is free to move in the first rank. Queen f4, no. Akash decided that he will win the game using only his queen and bishop. He will not use the rook. There is no check at d4 or d2. Yeah, bishop d2 is fine, but not bishop d4, but because that would have dropped the bishop for free. Bishop d2. Congratulations, Siddharth. I hope you are enjoying the tournament. Bishop d2, king has only one square, that is b2, and now, yeah, queen and bishop, still difficult to deliver a checkmate here. Maybe queen b4 first with a threat of bishop c3 check, king a2, queen f4, king b1, queen b3, checkmate. Queen c4 is also fine, nothing wrong with queen c4. Same threat of bishop c3, but yeah, now rook d8 check. Sorry, not rook d8 check, rook d8 pin means it attacks the bishop at d2, so bishop cannot move. Rook e1, oops, bad idea. Rook d2 and it's a checkmate. Oh my god, what have you done, Akash? 1 second left and black delivered a checkmate. Oh my god. In less than 1 second, Matthew. Always remember, in chess, you should never give up. You can see he has less than 1 second left on the clock. Just because this is an online clock, you can see the fraction of 1 second, that is 0.99. And this 0.99 gets over in how many seconds? Less than 1. So you can understand that black spotted this rook d2 checkmate with less than 3 seconds left on the clock and he delivered it. Fantastic finish by Matthew. And Akash, next time you have to convert a win into a win in a much more simpler way. Anyway, so let's see the next game. Abhishek Shaha versus Bhargav 0038. Abhishek Shaha is from, let's see which. Abhishek Shaha is from Kolkata Bibidibag branch of the Kolkata region, and his opponent Bhargav is Bhargav Jyoti Saikia from Tezpur branch of the Guwahati region. Bhargav is completely winning this because he has an extra knight and 4 extra pawns. He just needs to roll down his Usain Bolt and Michael Phelps. I mean the past pawns, that is D, C, F and G. He should have played G4 check first, but again F4 is also fine since black is winning. Any move is absolutely fine as long as it doesn't blunder his rook or knight. So black is ahead in position as well as in clock. So Bhargav should win this comfortably. Unfortunately for Abhishek, it's very difficult. But if you were watching the previous game, you should know that in chess you should not resign, because until the last moment you do not know what kind of opportunity your opponent will present you, what kind of opportunity the position will present itself. And now there is a checkmate in one move, rook takes e1. White is decided to sacrifice all his pieces with the hope of getting a stalemate, and now still there's a checkmate, rook a1, and Bhargav won the game. So last 7 games are on. Which one are we going to see? I think we should see this one. This is quite interesting. Sam Chetri is playing against Marajit. White has knight and 3 extra pawns. White is completely winning, but remember this is not an easy win. White has to play very carefully. King e5 should be played and d5 drops, and I don't think white is winning anymore. But Smarajit has only 15 seconds left. White has over 2.5 minutes. Smarajit, the player playing with the black pieces in this game, he's the oldest participant in this tournament, the senior most player. King d5 and now c6 will also drop. Rook a7, knight will be forced to lose the support of the c6 pawn, and then black will just simply take it. Yeah, king c5 is also fine. King c5, king b6, it's just a long way. Okay, so black wants to make sure that all pawns are removed from the board. So 3 seconds left. To make sure that black does not lose, black needs to capture the last pawn, the f5 pawn. Rook takes f5. Somehow rook f6, rook f5. Oh no. If black had taken the f5 pawn, then that would have been a draw, because there's no theoretical way for white to win it. Anyway, so let's move on to the next game. So Manoj MK is completely winning this. He has huge material advantage. James GP 9987, and he's run out of time also. Anyway, let's see the next game. Which one are we going to see? Yeah, this one. A lot of pieces are there on the board. Sambit is winning, but his king is in a difficult position. Yeah, he is away from all kinds of danger. There is no checkmate, and Sambit won the game. Kishan with the black pieces lost. Okay, let's see the last game. Rajesh versus Sweta Kumari. Rajesh is completely winning, but he has 18 seconds left on the clock. Oh my god, white needs to be very quick. Remember everyone, if white runs out of time, then the game will be a draw, because black has no material to deliver the checkmate. Now white just needs to push the pawn, h5, h6 and h7, h8, queen or rook checkmate, or bring the king. I think moving the pawn would have been quicker, but then again, bring the king is also fine. So white needs to be very quick. Pre-move is something which no one is doing, so I don't think the players are aware of doing a pre-move. Pre-move is a move which you can make before your opponent makes a move, and which you know that will be playable in the next move. Anyway, that's a checkmate, queen g1. So countdown has begun for round 3. You can see at the top, just over 1 minute left. Let's see how many players are at 2 out of 2. So we should have around 30 players. Yeah, 33. So 33 players are at 2 points. At 1.5 points, there are 5 players from 34 to 38. Of course, this is not the final standings. This is the current standings. It will of course change after the rest of the 6 rounds are played. Players who are at 1 point are from 39 to okay. So from 39 to 99. So 61 players are at 1 point. Players who are at half point are from 100 to 104. So 5 players are at half point, and from 105 to 141 0. Wait, sorry. So round 3 will begin now. Let's see who starts the game first. Okay, we are going to see the game between Mickey 72 versus Protoy 1995. Mickey is Mukul Kureja of Kolkata Bada Bazaar branch from Kolkata region. His opponent is Protoy 1995. Protoy's name is not in my list. So white was going for a scholar's mate, that is checkmate on f7 in 4 moves. But black has played knight f6. So it is definitely safe to assume that Protoy knows the golden rules because of the way he developed his pieces. Bishop g5. Bishop g4 is a mistake, because white should just simply take the knight. Bishop f6, bishop f3, bishop d8, and white will gain a piece. But Mickey, that is Mukul did not capitalize on it. h6, f3. Although Mukul is not following the golden rules, but he got an advantageous position early in the game, because black castled into danger. Castling is definitely a good idea, but you have to know whether you're castling your king into a danger or not. Because during the opening, king is like a baby who cannot protect itself. You have to make sure that the other pieces are utilized properly in defending it. But now black is in serious trouble because if the bishop moves anywhere, say h5 or e6, white will just simply take on h6 and threaten a checkmate at g7. Bishop h5 was played, and now white should definitely play bishop h6, threatening checkmate at g7. And yeah, black will be able to save the checkmate. It's not like game will be over. Black has g6, knight e8, and everything. Bishop d2 was played. I don't think white is aware of the pin. White should have taken bishop h6 because black wouldn't have been able to take on g7. And still, Mukul got another opportunity to do capture on h6, but he did not. He played knight e2, developing the knight. Yeah, d5 needed to be played much before, but he played knight c6 first to defend the e5 pawn, and now finally Mukul spotted the bishop h6 idea. He took it. The reason is simple, and now oops, game is over. Queen g7 and it's a checkmate. So it's a miniature. Within 12 moves, the game got over. So following golden rules is fine, but you have to make sure that the king is also safe. Anyway, next game is between ABM 1312 versus Bhargav 0038. Bhargav Jyoti Saikia, he is from Tezpur, Guwahati region. Yeah, black is ahead by one pawn, and the position looks much better for black because his king is much more safer than the white king. White's king is completely exposed, although it cannot be attacked by any means, but still. Oops, bishop f2, not a good idea. Knight c3 is there. Bishop a3 is also there. Anything is fine. Perhaps I would prefer bishop a3 myself because that creates a double pawn. Bishop a3, ba3, knight c3. Knight c3 also gains a pawn, but the difference is with knight c3, you're not destroying white's pawn structure by much. You're gaining a pawn, that's true. However, if you play bishop a3, then you are not only gaining a pawn but also destroying white's pawn structure. Knight f4 was another way to get the pawn, but I would have personally preferred knight c3 or bishop a3 the most. The problem with knight f4 is white will play bishop f4 now, and then again you have to use your resources to defend the f4 knight. So after bishop g3, you have to play g5 or knight 6 d5 or bishop d6. But white completely ignored it and played knight g5 with the hope of if black does long castling in this position, the knight f7 and f7 will drop. Of course, always remember anytime your opponent's pieces enter into your territory, you have to ask questions like black is asking now. Black played h6 and asked the g5 knight that what is your business, what do you want? And that means the knight has no reason to stay in black's territory. It is forced to retreat back to f3. White completely ignored it. Queen a4 is not a check because there is a pawn at c6. Maybe white thought it's a check, but black can just simply take the g5 knight for free. Yes. Of course, white will take the pawn, but black was ahead by a pawn already, right? So the knight did not cost anything for black. And after rook g5, black has knight d3 check, and that will destroy the castling. White decided that no, I will not allow you to capture my bishop. But then again, if knight d3 does not work, then knight e4 is there. And now white has to play either king e3 or king e1 to defend the f2 bishop. But king c2 means the f2 bishop is gone for free. Bhargav is completely winning now. He's playing fine. Voice is very low. I think this is something wrong with the mic because I can hear clearly over in my system, so I'm not exactly sure what exactly is the reason behind low volume. Anyway, knight to d3, knight b1, long castling was done finally, but a7 is hanging. Although it doesn't matter much because queen a7 does not make any checkmate threat at a8. After queen a7, king will go to d7. Rook f4, knight f4, yes. And now black is ahead by a rook and a bishop. and several other pawns. So what Bhargav needs to do here is crack the center wide open by playing c5 or e5, because black does not need to be worried about opening up the center. Knight d5, he wants to give a check at e3, I guess, but I don't think that will help. Or maybe bring the queen into action. Queen f4 or queen h2, anything is fine. Yes. Queen s1 was played again. It's not going to be a big bother for black. I don't think knight e3 was that necessary. Yes. Thank you, Dhruv. After knight e3, white played king d3, e5. Okay, knight is hanging. It should be defended. Queen h2. That's interesting. What if white takes the knight now? King e3. And queen a check does no trouble for black because king c7, and if you give another check, queen a5, king d7 to stop further checks. Yeah, since black is winning, I think black can even give up the e3 knight. It won't make a huge difference. Queen a5 check. Thank you, Vidisha. Queen a check, and yes, remember everyone, if you repeat moves, then definitely the system will detect the threefold repetition or perpetual check and give you a draw automatically. So ABM wants to go for a draw, obviously, because he has a difficult position. Bhargav made sure that draw by repetition, a threefold repetition, does not happen, so he avoided it by playing queen b8. I think the best way to avoid that would have been king d7 when white gave a check at a5, but yeah, this is also fine because black is ahead in huge amount of material, so anything is fine. Queen g3 check, king c2, I guess. Yeah, the rook falls. That's the difference. Whatever you do. King e2 is there, but king e2 has knight f4 and so on. Okay, king c2 was played and queen e1. Yeah, king e2 was the only move which could have defended white's rook. Queen a8, king c7, I guess. Or king d7. Which one? Queen a7, knight b6. Knight c4 and the knight drops. No, queen e2 check is there. Yeah, black can even take the queen. It's not a problem. I mean, black is forced to take the queen because it's a check. Otherwise, black would have lost the queen. Yeah, even rook d2 is also fine in this position. Rook d2, king d2, knight c4. Yeah, Bhargav is very confident. You can see that he's playing very confidently. And definitely, Bhargav is a serious contender to win the entire tournament. There's a third round going on and he is playing very fast, you can see. Look at his clock, look at his moves. This is a sign of a very strong player. And he knows the theory because he went with Caro-Kann early in the opening. So Bhargav quite possibly have a rating also, a FIDE rating. I'm not sure, but maybe he has. Because of the way he is playing, I can say that he could be a rated player. And if he is not, then I would definitely recommend whoever is watching Bhargav or Bhargav's friend or family, anyone, definitely make sure that Bhargav continues playing chess after today also, because he has a very good understanding of the game. And there are several tournaments every day online, so you can just practice against anyone and everyone because of the way you are playing. Yes. F3 check. And there is no worry about stalemate for black because white has 3 pawns and there are several moves for white. So black can play g2, g1 queen and queen g3 checkmate. Yeah, the quickest checkmate in this position is in 2 moves because Bhargav found g5, g4 or g5 rook h8 checkmate. G5 rook h8 checkmate is the quickest one. Yeah, no matter whatever white does, the game will be over in the next move, rook h8. And I'm sure Bhargav found it, is not going to miss it. Okay, he played rook g4, but yeah, that is also fine, nothing wrong with it. King h4, g2 discover check. King h5, g1 queen and then rook h8. Sorry, g1 queen and then queen h2, queen h1 checkmate. G2, king h5, G1 queen or rook, anything is fine. Okay, rook h8 right now is not probably the best idea. Yeah, black missed a checkmate. There was a quicker checkmate, but this is still winning for black. Just keep giving checks. Always remember, everyone, that the best way to avoid stalemate in this kind of positions, like when you have huge amount of material and your opponent has less pieces or only the king, make sure that you keep giving checks in every move to avoid stalemate. Yes, king e5 and queen e3 was a checkmate. Okay, let's see this game. Siddharth Pati versus Tathagata 2000. Tathagata Chattopadhyay is the son of Divyendra Chattopadhyay from Kolkata branch of the zonal office Kolkata. And Tathagata delivered a checkmate with queen g1. Okay, let's see the next game. Debraj Bhattacharya versus K. Rajesh. Debraj is from Bardhaman branch of the Bardhaman cluster. He is the husband of Riya Bhattacharya. K. Rajesh Kumar is from Bokaro Steel City branch of the Dhanbad cluster. King e1. Now this position is not clear. White should win this, but black has some kind of counterplay. I think white is winning this, but black will definitely create some kind of threat. So definitely this is an interesting position, I would say. Queen c2 maybe. White's primary objective should be to get rid of the d7 pawn, because as long as the d7 pawn looming large in front of the d8 king, black will not be out of any kind of trouble. White's idea is simple: rook g5, rook g8 check, and then promote the d7 pawn. Queen c4 was played, but queen c4 loses a tempo because of rook d4. Rook obviously has to move. It does not have a lot of squares it can go. Yeah, rook d4 is definitely a good square as well as safe. Now white's idea is simple: rook g5, rook g8. How does black stop it? I don't see any way, because black has a dark square bishop, which means black cannot apply any more pressure on the e2 knight. After rook g5, perhaps bishop e7 has to be played, so that after rook g8 check, king c7. Oops, queen c3 was a blunder. Sorry, knight was at e2. I completely missed it, and black also missed it, Rajesh. So Devraj is completely winning this. It's an easy win for him, because yeah, now rook g5 is not possible. So rook c1, rook c8, followed by d8 queen in the next move. He played h4. He wants black to capture it, and black did capture it. Now rook g8 is very much possible. Once the king moves, then you can play d8 easily. Black should probably move king c7, so that d8 is met with bishop d8. But king e7 means it's a checkmate in two moves. d8 queen, king e6, queen d7, and game over. Yep, queen d7 is the immediate checkmate. There might be other checkmates. No, queen d7 is the only one. Anyway, let's see the next game. 14 games are going on. Let's see which one is interesting. Okay, this one, queen and double rook. Oops, and black blundered. This happens after, when you're playing for a bit of time. Like, this is the third game, and the players who are playing, they do not play online chess every day, so you can see that this moment of blindness happens. Blind spot gets created, so that's why black Ipshita put the queen in front of the rook, and A clan TJ is completely winning now. And you can see another blunder was made by Ipshita. Rook c2 was played. Ishita Das Mahapatra is the wife of Rajiv Kumar Shahu of his zonal office Kolkata. A clan TJ, I'm not sure where he is from. Anyway, rook e8 check, rook f8 is forced because the king has nowhere to go. So rook f8 is forced. And then queen h7 checkmate is there. Black is not making a move, but the king has nowhere to go. Okay, so this game is almost over. Let's take a look at some other game. Rook and two knights versus rook and knight. Fentavilex is winning against Ahan Shahu, but he needs to convert this into a victory. Rook h7 check first, maybe knight e8. Black should try to hold on to the pawns as long as possible. Yes, Ahan understood that. Ahan Shahu is the son of Rajiv Kumar Shahu. He is also a very young player, only 8 years old. He is from zonal office Kolkata branch and region. Fentavilex is Purbana Lakha Kalita, son of Lakha Jyoti Kalita of Guwahati branch of the same region. He is 12 years 9 months old. So two young kids are playing. White is 12 years old and black is 8 years old. Purbana is winning this, and you can see he's confidently rolling the pawns down the board. h6, idea is g6 and then f6, g7, h7. Yeah, white can roll all the pawns without any worry because there's no possibility of stalemate. First of all, the e6 knight will eventually capture a g7 check, and then white can take on f6 and then take on not take and then promote the queen into at a j8. g7, king f7, knight f6. Okay, knight f6 at first is also alright. There's nothing wrong with it. White decided to save the knight first. King d6 or king f8. Okay, no problem. g7 check, king a. Okay, f6 is also fine. Anything is fine for white. h7, king f8, h8 checkmate. Now king f8 should be played. King h8 means immediate checkmate. Yeah, king f8 and now h7. So h7 should have been played in the previous move. Anyway, this is also fine. h8 queen or f8 queen. Anything is fine. Black takes and h8 queen and it's a checkmate. So fantastic game from two young little kids. Okay, so all games are over, I guess. Let me refresh the page. 4 games are on. Which one should we see? Yeah, this one. Minor piece endgame. Black is taking on d4 knight. Bishop d4 was there. White is winning, but it will be an interesting finish because white is going to lose one of the knights here. And now white's objective should be to capture an h6 and then push the g pawns. King b5, I guess. Nope, not king d3 because e3 knight is well defended. You're not getting anything. It would have been interesting if black had taken on a6 and then tried to roll the a pawn down the board. So Shubhra Shantosen is trying to capture the a6 pawn. Shubhra Shanto is completely winning this, and black is just moving the king. Yeah, white will get g7 with proper support. g6, bishop h6 and g7. White should win this comfortably. g7 is not a good idea. Oops. Oh my god. Black should have taken the queen. Oh no. Shubhra Shanto did a terrible mistake, but unfortunately his opponent Sush did not notice it. Let's see. Why should be able to deliver checkmate soon? a7 was a blunder because it would have ended in a stalemate. So white is making sure to give checks. So I guess players are listening to the commentary and they understood that, or perhaps they know on their own. Not necessarily they learned it right now. Supratim Ghosh said, is it a free today? Yes, but only it is for the Federal Bank employee and their family members. It is not an open event, it's a closed event. So third round got over. There are several players at 3 points. Let's see how many players are there. 16 players are at 3 out of 3, 100% score, and the players who are at 2.5 points are from 17 to Okay, 70 to 20. So 4 players are at 2.5 out of 3, and the players were at 2 points from 21 to 66, which means how many players? 45, 46. 46 players are there at 2 points, and 1.5 points, 67 to 71. 5 players from 72 to players were at 1 pointer, 72 to 114, that is 43 players. 5 players are at half points, and 120 to 141 the players are at yet to score. Less than 20 seconds left for round 4 to begin, which will be the halfway mark of the event. So things are going to be interesting. And round 4 begins. Let's see the game between Bhargav and Maulik. Bhargav Jyoti Saikia from Tezpur, Guwahati, and his opponent Maulik is Maulik Dev, son of Priyatosh Dev from Tinsukia, Guwahati region. So it's a battle between two players from the Guwahati region. Let's see who wins it. So we are observing a Sicilian defense. I guess both players know the first few moves of Sicilian defense. Knight c3, a6, knight f6. So these are just simply theoretical moves. The opening transformed into Sicilian Najdorf, which is commonly and widely played at all levels of chess, from beginner club level players to top players of the world. And white castled quickly. Black has taken a dragon-like structure. It is also known as Dragodorf. It's a mixture of Sicilian dragon and Sicilian Najdorf. Fun fact I must tell you that chess is the only sport in the history of mankind which has more books written about the sport than any other sport in the history. So for those who want to improve their opening on Najdorf or Dragon, you can find several books, several learning materials on Sicilian defense, Najdorf, and Dragon variations. Anyway, white played queen d2 with the idea of playing bishop h6 at some point. Of course, not now, as playing bishop h6 will result in the dropping of the d4 knight. Bishop h6, queen h6, and knight d4. That is the reason white decided to support the d4 knight with rook a d1 with a threat of bishop h6 at some point. And now b5 means it's quite interesting. In some positions, white can sacrifice the knight at b5, knight c b5, a b5, bishop b5, bishop d7. Although I'm not sure if it works in this particular position, I don't think it does. But then again, I don't know what is the correct development in this particular position. So maybe the recent agents would definitely prefer to sacrifice the knight at b5. But although playing, bishop f3 without playing f4 is not a good idea. White should have played f4 first to prevent, these kind of ideas like knight e5, which white just allowed. And now you can't even retreat your bishop. Why? Because if you play bishop e2, the knight e4 will happen. That means white will lose the key central pawn at e4. So white has no other choice but to allow knight f3 to happen in the next move. Maybe queen c1 or something should be played so that afterwards white could go for something like bishop h6 or something. It has become a difficult position for white. Black has advantage right now because white itself has pushed himself to a corner. But of course, it's not over. It's far from over because this is just the opening phase of the game. The game of chess has three phases: opening, middle game, and end game. So opening is just about to conclude, and then the middle game will begin. Bhargav decided to go with bishop h6. I don't think bishop h6 right now is such a good idea because knight c4. Whether you play queen c1, queen f4, queen g5, it doesn't matter. Black will just take on h6, bishop h6, queen h6, and knight b2. You will lose the valuable b2 pawn, and then white's pawn structure on the queen side will be completely demolished. So bishop h6 is a bit too early, and now Maulik needs to find out knight c4, but black decided to do castling. Interesting. And now white can take, and perhaps b3 should be played, I guess. Or maybe knight d5 also. Okay, rook f1 was played. After rook f1, black can still play knight c4, and once the queen moves, say queen c1, knight a3, and black gains a pawn. Yes, knight c4 was played. Maulik spotted the idea of gaining the pawn. There is no good option for white. Whether white plays queen c1 or queen d3, it won't matter much. Yeah, queen d3 is actually bad because not only you lose the b2 pawn, but also you lose the exchange at d1. So queen c1 is the best move. But now knight a3 is a very interesting option for black to gain a pawn. Knight a3, knight d5 has knight d5, ed5, knight c4. So it's not like black is going to lose material if black plays knight a3. Knight a3 makes sure that black gains a pawn and gains the upper hand early in the game. So opening stage got over. This is the middle game stage now. Means middle game is where you have to play on your own. The opening theory got over. Knight a3 is a thematic tactical move which is generally played in this kind of structure in Sicilian defense, which absolutely works. It's just that Maulik needs to find out and play it. And finally he decided to take it. Pranay says now it is more interesting. Yes, it's definitely interesting because both of them are quite strong players, and of course they are at 3 out of 3, so you can understand that they're definitely quite strong. And their Leach's rating is also 1880 and 1890. I mean, white has 1890, black has 1880, because they have played a couple of matches before the tournament, to be accustomed with not only the user interface but also be accustomed to various different difficult level to be ready for this challenge, because he's very much both of them are very much eager to win the tournament. It is evident from the way they are playing. They are playing very slowly, utilizing the time. So black has managed to gain a pawn on the queen side, and white's pawn structure on the queen side is also completely destroyed. Rook d3 was played, attacking the queen and asking, what is your business? It's time to retreat the queen. Queen can go back to c4 and c7, both are fine, but yeah, I would prefer to have the queen at c4 than at c7, because then the queen can, create some chances, create some threats, perhaps bring one of the rook to c8. Biplab Maulik says hi. Hi Biplab. White played h4. Well, of course, white doesn't have much going on the queen side of the board, so white is definitely trying to, create some chances on the king side. e5 is a bit early, I would say, to play right now, because once the knight moves, okay, black can take on e4, I guess. Knight e4, bishop e4, bishop e4, but the problem is If white plays knight b3, which is the best move in this position, knight b3, then you won't be able to play knight e4. Then you have to play bishop e4. Why? Because if you play knight e4, bishop e4, and then knight d2 will be a fork, and then you will drop your bishop. But after knight b3, you can simply play bishop e4. Why? Because after bishop e4, knight e4, the knight d2 is no longer a fork. Knight d2 means you can take the knight on d2. Black has a huge advantage in this position, but it is a bit early to say that black has a winning advantage, because it's not. It's a huge advantage for sure, but not winning advantage yet. Knight b3 was played because knight had only two safe squares, b3 and e2, and of course knight b3 is much better than e2, because if you retreat at e2, black will just simply gobble up the e4 pawn with knight e4, and then, well, black will just increase his advantage by that much. Bishop e4 has to be played. White has knight a5 threat as well as rook d6, and of course you don't want to play a passive move like queen c7, because when you are attacking, when you have a total control of the position, you should not let your grip loose and allow your opponent to bounce back in the game. After knight b3, bishop e4 should be played. Let's see whether Maulik can spot it. Let me remind you once again, it's a battle between two Guwahati region. Both of them are representing Guwahati region. One is from Tinsukia and the other one is from the Tezpur branch. Bhargav is from the Tezpur branch and Maulik is from the Tinsukia branch. Rook f d8 was played, but this is not the move I was recommending because it's a passive move. We don't want to defend the d6 one. But white played knight a5, and of course you do not want to give an opportunity to your opponent to bounce back. Queen c7 was played, and now I think white should take it, and white took it. Knight b7, queen b7. e4 is no longer under attack. White should play queen d2 and try to apply more pressure on the backward pawn d6. For those who are wondering why am I calling it a backward pawn, the d6 pawn, because it's a technical term. It means no other pawn can defend it. Of course, the other pieces, that is queen, rook, knight and king, all of them can defend it, but no other pawn can defend it. And if that pawn is pushed, then it will get captured. Yeah, not for free, but yeah, it won't survive for long. Now d5 can be played, but still it is a bad idea. Why? Because if you play d5, e5 and you lose the pawn for free, even queen e5 is also fine, but d5, e5, e4, then bishop e4 and white will be doing absolutely fine. With rook h8, the idea is simple. Black wants to play h6, but I think h6 was playable directly. So yeah, black lost a momentarily focus because the d6 pawn is no longer defended. White should have taken it. Rook d6 would have been the best move, but white went with h5. Idea is not to take the d6 pawn. Idea is to play h6. Vidisha says, I won from Anup Anthony sir. Congratulations Vidisha for scoring a victory. 4 rounds are over, still 4 more rounds to go. I hope you are enjoying the tournament and having a great time. Black played h6. Of course, to prevent white from playing h6 and gain the f6 knight. So Bhargav has a good position and he's ahead in time. Black played g5 to avoid h6 capture, but still white can capture the d6 pawn, right? And not only that, the d6 pawn, but also black will be in trouble sooner than later. And now it's time to use the other rook into action. Rook e d1. Unfortunately, white's queen is a bit trapped, although it cannot be captured by any black pieces, but the queen is not actively participating in the attack. But yeah, white's position is still really good in this at this moment. Rook f8 providing extra support to the e5 pawn, and now white has to figure out a way to bring the queen into action. Perhaps bishop g4, bishop f5, so that queen can be used in some capacity. Even bishop g4, bishop d5, d7 is also there. So white has plenty of choices. White has firm control of the game, but okay, bishop g4 right now is a blunder because e4 will drop, knight e4, and then black will gain material. So yeah, perhaps queen h3, queen f5 first, and then bishop e2, and that's a mistake. Knight e4, and Maulik there is back in the game. And when I say back in the game, I of course mean that from a difficult position he has made a comeback. It's not like he locked out and locked back in. Knight e4, and now white needs to provide support to the d6 rook, otherwise the rook will fall for free. I mean, it will be captured for nothing. So queen d3 is the only move for white over here, and after knight d6 black is winning. Knight d6, queen d6, queen d6, rook d6, and rook e d8. Since black is ahead in material, black should happily offer exchange of pieces, and then he will win comfortably. Yeah, white has to take it. I mean, if you don't take it, then you're just simply down by a rook. It's much worse than being down by a exchange. Bhargav is taking his time, but he has to capture it. I mean, if you don't capture it, there is no checkmate threat, there is no counter attack, there is nothing for white to do over here except capturing on d6. White is running short on time, almost 45 seconds of difference is there. Yeah, Bhargav decided to take it because there was no other good option. Maulik should simply exchange off the queens because he is ahead in material, and why not exchange the queens because black is completely winning. And rook e d8. If black can exchange off the rooks, it should be an easy win. Otherwise, it's difficult to make progress because you can play rook e c8 and try to capture the c2 pawn, but white will play bishop d3 and defend the c2 pawn. So rook e d8 was played. Rook d3, and white should take it. Bishop d3, and time to activate the king. King f6, king e6, king d5, and so on. You just need to make sure that do not put the king and rook in the same diagonal. How can you make sure that you don't make such mistakes? Well, just put the king and rook in different color, or put them both in a dark square, and you can always be sure that okay, even if you're not paying much of an attention, then also you will not lose the rook. But if you keep the king and rook in the same diagonal, that is light square, then you are always risking the loss of a rook. Anyway, rook c8 should be played. Black should not exchange of the pawns. Black should try to pick up the pawns for free. And now maybe king d5 is fine. I with a threat of e4. Yeah, rook d8 is also fine. Idea is king c5 e4. Of course, white is not going to lose the bishop so quickly. King e6 should be played with the threat of f5, which is also Brock Lesnar's finishing move. After king e3, king e6 is the best move. Again, king c5 is also fine, but it won't be easy. It won't be a quick win. King c5, a5, b4, and so on. That is also there. The position is completely lost for white. It's difficult to play, but I think whatever he plays, he needs to play quickly. The reason is simple because Maulik also doesn't have a lot of time left on the clock. He has just over a minute. And if anything, Bhargav wants to go for in this position, then he has to go for time advantage. King e4, I don't think is a good idea. Rook d2, king e3, rook a2, and a3 will drop. Instead of king e4, white should have played g4. Okay, king d6. Why king d6? To defend e5 pawn, I don't think that e5 pawn needed to be defended. I mean, even if you lose that pawn, it's absolutely all right, because black should focus on his advantage, not on defensive. And now I think, yeah, white has managed to get back into the game. It will be difficult for black to gain an advantage out of this. Maulik, I don't think he played correctly. f5 check has to be played. White needed to defend it. After f5 check, again black is winning. Oops. Yeah, white finally played g4. And now all possible ideas from black is completely stopped. How black is going to win this, it is completely beyond me. f5 check would be a blunder, because if you play f5 check, gf5, rook f5, bishop d7, and then white will be winning. So f5 check is a blunder. Now black should not take it. Bishop d7. Bhargav, let's see, can you spot it? No, Bhargav got a wonderful, beautiful opportunity with bishop d7, but unfortunately he could not spot it. King d5 has to be played. Rook d4 check, king c5. Oh my god, what a twist of fate. Maulik is down on time and down in position, and I don't think he is going to win this. No, rook c4 check is also over. King d5 and the king pawn ending is winning for white. Yeah, king d6, king b6, anything is winning. Or is it? He needed to play g4, or no, king c8 was required because king b7 was coming. Oops. King a5. White needs to play quickly. Black is running out of time. Bhargav should win this. No. What a complete turn of things. And this game ran for the entire duration of the round. So unfortunately we couldn't see any other games in round 4. Let's see how many leaders are there at the end of round 4 with a 100% score. That is 6 players. Tathagata 2000, Phantom LX, Devraj Bhattacharya, Bhargav 0038, Anil 3459, and Spandan GG. So 6 players are at 4 out of 4, and the players who are at 3.5 points are from 7 to 12, that is 6 players. So 6 at 4 out of 4 and 6 players at 3.5 out of 4. So tournament is halfway over. We still have 4 more rounds to go. And players were at 3 points from 13 to 37, that is 25 players. 2.5 points, 38 to 48, 11 players. From 49 to, okay, 49 to 90, so that is 52 players. No, not 52, 42 players, sorry. From 91 to 94, 4 players are 1.5. From 95 to 122, 1 point. 123 to 126, half. And 127 onwards yet to score. Anyway, so let's go back, and round 5 is about to begin right now. So which game are we going to see? Tathagata versus Anil or Phantom LX? I think Tathagata versus Anil, but the game hasn't. Okay, it has started. Let's see where they are from. Anil Kumar Sahu is from the Paradeep branch of the Bhubaneswar region, and Tathagata Chattopadhyay is from CB Cole branch, that is the zonal office. He is the son of Dibyendu Chattopadhyay. We all know that Grandmaster Dibyendu Burua is India's second Grandmaster, and he is the first Grandmaster from West Bengal. The reason I said it is Tathagata's father's name is Dibyendu Chattopadhyay, so that name Dibyendu struck me. Anyway, so white can simply take on d5. ed5 is absolutely fine. White should not bother about taking the bishop. Why? Because ed5 makes sure that white gains a pawn, more like white regains the pawn, and white gains a firm control at the center of the board. With cb4, white will be still down by a point. Yeah, so Anil definitely spotted it, and he decided to capture the correct piece. by capturing the pawn. E takes d5. Well, there is a debate that a lot of people don't consider pawn as a piece, because pawn is a pawn which can be promoted into another piece. Well, in my childhood also I learned that pawn is not a piece, but then again, in general terms, we say pawn is also a piece. So bishop e3, bishop c5, and white decided not to support it, but the problem is after bishop e3, fe3, queen e3 comes with a check. So white doesn't exactly get time to play rook e1 and pin. I think Anil should have supported the e3 pawn. Tathagata is wondering whether to capture the e3 pawn or not, and I think he should, because there's absolutely nothing wrong since this comes with a check. And now black can castle and put the king into safety, so rook e1 will no longer be a deadly threat at all. Black is lagging in development, but I think black is absolutely fine. Queen h6 and then knight g4 will create some kind of deadly threat. Of course, black needs to not neglect the castling and not castling. Castling has been done. Black should not neglect the development of the queen side. Yeah, queen c5 is absolutely fine attacking the bishop. So black is making sure that he does not lose the tempo because of rook e1 and attacking the queen. Bishop b3 is perhaps the best move, and that is exactly what was played. Why? Because it keeps the d5 protected and also makes sure that the bishop is staying in the active diagonal, which is the a2 g8 diagonal, where something can happen at the later part of the game. Bishop g4, which is the best move because it pins the knight, so it develops with a motive. And now white should play something like queen d4. Even queen d3 is also fine. Knight bd7 should be played to develop the knight, and in future have some kind of threat at knight c5 or knight e5, something like that. Well, black decided to take it. I would say that is a bit early. Black shouldn't have taken it. Tathagata should have completed the development on his queen side, because okay, both sides have developed the queen side, rook and knight, but since black is the opportunity to do it first, I mean, why not do it right now? Yes. And Tathagata decided finally to develop the knight, knight b d7. Anil should also do the same. He should also develop his knight, knight to d2. White does not have a lot of good moves, and developing the remaining undeveloped pieces is definitely the best idea, which should be the immediate motive for white. Knight bd2 was played. Sorry, knight d2. I mean, we are in the habit of saying knight bd2 because generally when the knight is developed, there's also another knight at f3, where there are both knights which can possibly come to d2. So knight d2, rook f e8. The reason behind me saying rook f8 is because both 8 and f8 rook can come to e2, can come to e8. Rook f wins, the f8 rook goes to e8. Queen h3. Well, there is no immediate threat, but of course white is aiming for some future threats, where white will lift the rook f1, rook f3, rook g3, and so on. Bishop c2 is the other idea. Idea is simple. Now white will try to deflect the knight from f6 with something like knight e4, knight e4, bishop e4, and then attack on h7. Black took on e1, white took on e1, rook e1 check. And black cannot play rook e8 now. Rook e8 will be a blunder. Why? Because rook e8, knight e8, queen d7, and black drops the knight. Queen f2, and now white's only move to defend both rook and the knight as well as the c2 bishop is rook queen e3. No, rook f1 is a blunder. White drops the d2 knight, and Tathagata gains an important material and gains a winning advantage immediately. Now it is very difficult for white to make a comeback. Perhaps bishop h7, knight h7, queen d7 is possible, but then again, it doesn't make a huge difference. Bishop h7, knight h7, queen d7, knight f6, and black should be winning this comfortably. And knight e5 should be played because knight needs to be defended. Even queen d5 is also fine. There is nothing wrong with it. Both of them are absolutely okay. Yes, queen d5, fantastic. Now what will black do? I mean, what will white do? White doesn't have much to go on because he's down in material, and the position is also not good for white. So yeah, not much going for in favor of white's pieces. Queen h4. Not sure what exactly is the idea behind it. Perhaps black should bring the knight or rook into action. Knight e5, rook e8, and everything is fine. Well, black is bent on capturing free pawns, but black has to be careful. There should not be any sharp tactical threat from white. He has to make sure of that. Perhaps it's time to use the rook to e8, or maybe push the passed pawn a4. Yeah, he played rook e8. Queen needs to go somewhere, not a1. If the queen goes to a1, bishop h7 check, and then white will be back on track and white will win the game. So queen e2 is fine. Yes, queen e2 attacks the rook. Rook needs to find a way to defend. Rook f3 is a blunder because queen e1 check, queen e1, rook e1, and b1 bishop will drop. So white has two options: rook c1 or a rook g1. These are the only two safeguards for the rook. Yeah, king g1 is also there, but I personally would not recommend it because you do not want to bring the king out in the open where it is more prone to future attacks from your opponent's pieces, especially when your opponent is winning and has huge material advantage. Knight e5 is definitely the best move in this position. Knight c5 is also fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, okay, black is winning any good move is win. Rook f2 is a blunder. Queen d1 or queen e1 check. Anything drops the b1 bishop. Let's see if black can spot it. I think Tathagata will spot it. Yes, he played queen d1 check. He did not play queen e1. I think he was worried about something, but there was nothing to be worried about. I think queen e1 check was equally fine. Queen b1, and black gains another material. The b1 bishop drops. Now what should white do? White doesn't have much to go on over here actually. Maybe try some simple tricks like rook f3, rook g3, queen g5 or queen h6 and make a checkmate right at g7. Of course, which can be easily defended by black, and Tathagata can easily spot it. This is the 5th round going on, 3 more rounds left to go, and this is a very important round for both players because whoever wins this game will be one step closer to winning the tournament. Rook f6, knight f6 should be played. No need to destroy the pawn structure. G f6, knight f6, and black is absolutely winning now. Now black doesn't need to do much. Put the queen on b3, roll the a pawn down the board, and black is winning. There is nothing to be done on the king side, so black is completely safe. He just needs to play queen b3 or queen b5. Yeah, even exchanging the queens is also fine. Abby Paul says go ahead smartly. Abby is cheering for his friend. Queen f2, queen e5 check, and now c3 will drop. And the queen exchanges force, most importantly. Like even if you play g3, queen e2, and queens will be exchanged. And if you go back, king g1 or h1, then queen e1. So Anil decided to resign because it was over. Anyway, let's see the next game. Phantom LX versus Bhargav 0038. It's an interesting position. The bishop is hanging and the bishop will drop because even if you play rook b5, white will just simply take the knight. Bishop takes d6 and it is a nasty pin. It is absolutely difficult for black to get out of this pin because there's no escape. Phantom is winning this. Phantom is Purbarna Lakha Kalita, son of Lakhajyoti Kalita from Guwahati branch and Guwahati region. His opponent Bhargav is Bhargav Jyoti Saikia from Tezpur branch of the Guwahati region. So again a battle between two Guwahati regions. So Guardi players are dominating this event, I should say. There is no defense for black in this position, no matter whatever you do. You cannot move the knight to support the c5 bishop, then b8 rook will be captured. You cannot move the b8 rook to b5 to support the c5 bishop, because simply white will play bishop d6 check and take advantage of the existing pin on the c file. This is a relative pin. For those who are unaware, there are various kinds of pin. Pin means when a piece is under attack, and if you move that piece, the hidden piece behind it, or the piece which is supporting the attacked piece, will be captured. Like in this position, the c5 piece is the attacked piece and the hidden piece or the supporting piece is the c8 rook. And if you move the attacked piece, the the c5 bishop, then the c8 rook will drop, material will be lost. Like if you move the c5 bishop anywhere, for instance say bishop a3, then white can play either bishop d6 or rook c8. Anything is winning for white, because even if white plays a rook c8 check, then bishop b8 will be followed in the next move. Or if you play bishop d6 check first and then bishop d6 rook c8, and then white gets centered. So yeah, white's position is so good that no amount of counterplay or defense can save black in this position. Vidisha is saying having fun. Yes, Vidisha, that was the point of this tournament. It's good to hear that you're having fun, enjoying the games. Bhargav is down to less than 2 minutes left on the clock, so the time difference is over 3.5 minutes, and Phantom is definitely going to walk away with a victory. Both of them are quite strong players. As you can see, their leeches rating is 1998 and 1851. Bhargav's rating is 1998 and Phantom's rating is 1851. This is their leeches rating, not the FIDE rating. But definitely both of them are quite strong players. Will Bhargav make a move in the next 70 seconds? That is what we are going to see. Because there's no good way to defend the c5 bishop. You can see there are two pins, one on c file and the other one on the bishop at f4 is pinning the d6 knight against the b8 rook. That is also a relative pin. A relative pin means when a pinned piece can move, but it probably shouldn't move because of loss of material. Then we call it relative pin. Instead of a rook at b8 or a rook at c8, if they were a king, then we would have called it an absolute pin. Absolute pin is when the pinned piece cannot move. And Bhargav, after a lot of thought, decided to play e5, but I don't think that changes anything. White can just simply take it, bishop e5, and white will be fine. Okay, I think Bhargav probably played bishop e5. Is after bishop e5 he has a trick, that is rook e8, so that if white takes on c5, then he will take on e5. So good comeback by Bhargav, I must say. He gave up a pawn, but he made sure that he does not lose a piece. So Bhargav found a way to save the position, but unfortunately I don't think it is enough to save the game, because the time difference is a lot. And although the position is more or less equal, yeah, white should not play bishop d6 check because the position is open. Or rook bishop is a better combination in the endgame than the rook knight. And of course, Phantom made sure that he captured the bishop, not the knight. Another knight needs to move somewhere. King f1 is also fine, but the problem with king f1 is, the knight at e2 is in a type of pseudo absolute pin. Why pseudo absolute pin? Because you cannot move the knight. Even if you can practically, even if you can theoretically or technically, you can move the knight, but you should not. Why? If you move the knight, then there's a checkmate, rook e1. So yeah, Bhargav managed to survive the game, but he has to play extremely fast because he has only 12 seconds left and he has to keep making pre-moves, which he is not. He played a6. Position is more or less difficult for white to play, but yeah, white can win this. Knight f4 cannot happen because of knight d2 check. Yeah, white is playing very fast, but perhaps instead of knight d6 retreat, he should have played knight c3 to keep things interesting. Rook bc7, knight a5. Idea is knight d4. He cannot capture it. Knight d4. Knight d4 should have been played. No. Still, this is. Oh, rook d3 should have been played. Yeah, there's no checkmate threat, so rook d3 can be played. Yeah, Bhargav is trying to make three moves, but I think it's a bit too late. Yeah, he can still. Yeah, good Bhargav that finally you are making three moves. Oops, the rook dropped. Yeah, now the position is also done for. White just needs to roll the pawn, and opponent has less than 1 second left on the clock. Yeah, Phantom has a lot of time, so he can win this comfortably. Phantom won the game. Okay, so which one do we see? Which one seems to be the most interesting? I think this one. Maulik Dev versus Manoj MK. Okay, the e7 rook is dropping, I think. Yes. White should just simply take it. Rook e7. If h5 check is played, then white can just simply play rook g5 followed by rook g8 and roll the c6 pawn down the board to promote into a queen and win the game. Knight e4 check. Okay, king f7 can be played. Now rook e7, king e7, rook g8. And white gains a rook for free. Maulik is winning this. Yeah, rook needs to be saved first because you have c7. Rook d8 is absolutely fine. King e7, c7 protects the rook as well as threatens pawn promotion in the next move. White has 80 seconds left on the clock, but I think there is more than enough for him to deliver the checkmate because, yeah, white can easily deliver the checkmate. It shouldn't take more. Queen d7 and checkmate, game over. So let's take a look at the next game. Okay, Prashant Pradeep versus Ashish Rana. Prashant is winning, but he has to be careful about keeping the h4 pawn alive. Oh no, he has to play knight e3 check. If he does not keep the h4 pawn alive, king f4, king g3, black's objective is simple. Capture the h4 pawn and it will be a draw. But after capturing the h4 pawn, black has to sacrifice the h pawn also within the next 40 seconds. Otherwise, if he runs out of time and there is a pawn at h5 on the board, well then white will win. So Ashish has to be very careful about losing the pawns also. First capture h4 and then lose them. Prashant had made. I don't think he made such a huge error because, yeah, I mean, okay, so this position we have to see if this is really winning for white or not. Because the more you allow white to push the pawn, the more it becomes difficult for white to come to king's side. Very interesting. I don't know. Maybe it was already a draw. I have to analyze it and then only I can say for sure. And now it's a completely draw. Provided white captures both pawns. And now if white runs out of time, white loses. If black runs out of time, black loses. As long as the pawn is on the board. So to make sure that white does not lose this game, white should just simply capture it and call it a draw. The longer white allows black to have the pawn on the board, if white runs out of time, white will lose. Similarly, if black manages to keep the pawn on the board, knight g5 should be played to save the day. Yes. And now if black plays, take it. Prashant, take it, otherwise you lose. Take it! Oh no! Prashant just needed to play knight h3 and it would have been draw. He wouldn't have lost the game. But he was taking too much time because you cannot win from that position. Draw is the maximum result you can get. Anyway, so that's the conclusion of round 5. We have 3 players leading at the end of round 5. That is Tasagato 2000, Phantom LX and Devraj Bhattacharya. So And the next three players who are at 4.5 points are Rock with AK, Animesh Mohanty, and AKLA, AKL and J, AKLN TJ, something like that. Anyway, there are several players at 4 points. So from 7 to 21, 14 players are at 4 points. 22 to 29, 8 players are at 3.5. 30 to 64, we have 35 players are at 3 points. From 65 to 72, 8 players are at 2.5 points. And from 73 to 105, 2 points. 106 to 110 at 1.5. 101, 111 to 127, 1 point. Anyway, so round 6 is about to begin. So Tathagata is facing Phantom Alex, and Devraj will face one of the players who has Animesh Mohanty, who has 4.5 points. Anyway, let's see the top board game between Tathagata 2000 and Phantom Alex. Both of them, of course, know the theory. Tathagata Chattopadhyay is the son of Divyendra Chattopadhyay from CV Cole of the zonal office Kolkata. White is opted for Rai Lopez or the Spanish opening, and black has opted for the old Stennis defense. It's named after the first official world champion in the history of chess, Wilhelm Stennis or William Stennis. He's also known as William. D5 was played, knight has to retreat. Knight e7 would have been better, but knight b8 is also fine, hoping that if white takes, then he will take on d7. What white should have done is not take on d7 and played bishop d3. Why? Because you just played into your opponent's hand. Phantom Alex, that is, black wanted to play that particular idea and you allowed it. That should not happen. Purbanyo Lakha Kalita is just 12 years old. White played queen c2, defending the e4 pawn. Perhaps knight c3 was also fine. And now black should play a5 to make sure that the knight does not get removed from c5 square. And now white has to play knight c3, not knight bd2. Why? Because knight bd2 blocks the bishop's path, and eventually you want to develop the c1 bishop. Bishop e7 was played, and perhaps now is a very good time to play b4 and drive the knight back. Of course, because you do not want your opponent's pieces to, keep your pieces under attack, under a threat or something. Beauty Singh says great fun. Thank you, Beauty, and definitely thanks to the organizers of Federal Bank for organizing this fantastic event on a Sunday so that everyone can enjoy the weekend. Bishop e3, knight c7. Of course, bishop e3, the threat behind that was to simply take the knight. Bishop c5, dc5, and that would have cost black the valuable e5 pawn. White has space advantage, so I'm liking white's position much more over here. And black needs to come up with something. Black's idea is simple. He wants to play b5. The idea behind b5 is he's not... Okay, he is going to drop a pawn if he plays b5 because e4 is defended quite well. And now black has a King's Indian like structure, except the bishop is on e7, not on g7 with a fianchetto. And perhaps black should go with knight h5, f5, that idea, because black's position is extremely passive. He does not have a lot of space where he can move his pieces freely. And white played knight h4, and now knight e4 can be played. No, knight e4 does not work. Why? Because... But knight d5 can work, right? Knight d5 has knight f5. Yeah, does not work, unfortunately, because knight d5, knight f5, if you take... No, knight e4 does not work. Generally it works, but in this particular position it doesn't, because knight f5 and your e7 bishop is not defended, and there is no way for black to retreat the knight and defend the e7 bishop. So knight f5 is the winning move for white. Knight e4 was a mistake. Knight e4, I would say, is like if you are playing a cricket match or watching a cricket match, you get out of the crease where you go to hit a 6 over the fence against a spinner, but unfortunately the ball goes through to the keeper and the keeper does a stump out. So knight e4 would be a move like that. Or if you are a fan of football, then I would say goalkeeper, instead of passing the ball from the goalpost to his teammate, he does a miscue and passes the ball to his opponent's teammate, where he has a maximum chances of scoring a goal. So that is exactly what happened with knight e4, and now you can see both e4 knight and the e7 bishop are under attack. Of course, black has to save the e7 bishop, not the e4 knight. Why? Because if you move the e4 knight and leave the e7 bishop hanging, then white will just simply take on e7 and create a fork. So that is the reason black played rook e8, and now white will just simply take on e4. White does not need to be bothered about taking the e7 bishop immediately, because that's not the free piece. The e4 knight is the free piece, and the f5 knight is absolutely deadly. It is not going to be easy for black to get rid of the knight from f5, and e7 bishop is more or less inactive. It's not posing any kind of threat to white's pieces, and Tathagato is definitely winning this game. He just needs to make sure that he doesn't make any kind of mistake. I think in this position he can play f4, open up the bishop's path. Wow, what a fantastic move! Bishop h6. He cannot play g8-6 because queen g3, queen g7, checkmate threat. That was the idea. So Tathagato is absolutely on fire, and he is definitely playing fantastic. I think f4 can be played. Queen g3 is also fine, but I would have preferred to play f4 to open up another file, to open up the f file, and to bring the rook from f1 to f3 and g3 and so on. Although queen g3 is also fine, there's nothing wrong with it. Bishop f8 was played, and I think white is safe to exchange off the bishops. Bishop f8 can and should be played. Why? Because if you play knight f6, knight f8, you have knight f6. If you play rook f8, you have knight e7. So after bishop f6, bishop f8, black is forced to play king f8. You cannot capture it with the rook or the knight. You have to capture it with the king. And of course, Phantom Alex definitely saw it. And now perhaps white should retreat the knight somewhere. Knight e8-6, yes. King g7 as knight f5, so knight is absolutely safe. It's not going anywhere. At some point, white has to think about playing f4. Okay, queen h4 is also fine. Now white needs to consider playing f4, f5, fg6. Idea is to open up the rook's path and bring more pieces into the attack. It's like your birthday party. Whenever you're throwing a birthday party, you want maximum amount of your friends, your cousins, your brothers, sisters, relatives to come. So white has queen and knight into the attacking party. It needs to bring more pieces, and the only way to bring more pieces is to play f4 and bring the rook also. Knight g5 is a good move, but it does not pose. Yeah, white can play knight h7 right now. Oh no, not now, because yeah, knight f7 is correct. Knight 8 f7, because queen h7 is the threat. If black plays rook f7, well, queen h7 followed by queen f7, and it will be a checkmate. So how will black defend it? h5 or h6 would have been better. But yeah, game is over now. Queen h7. King f6 has to be played, but then queen f7, king g5, and white will be just a bit... Okay, knight e6 check is also fine. I would have personally preferred queen h7 and go for the checkmate, but yeah, knight e6 is also fine. You gain the queen. Knight d8. Oops, black loses for the material. Queen d8. And the rook also falls. King g7 or knight f8 has to be played, because rook f8 means black drops another piece. And after 26 moves, Phantom Alex decided, well, it's over. Anyway, let's see the game between the other leader, Devraj Bhattacharya versus Animesh Mohanty. Animesh is playing with white pieces. Wow, what a fantastic position. The position is open. Black has a bishop pair, but he should have played bishop b1 and captured the a2 pawn. But anyway, bishop b1 would have also run into bishop d3 check, and it is very difficult to call who is going to win. The position is more or less equal, but not exactly equal. Black should have taken it. Probably black wanted to save a tempo. King g6 is forced move, no need to think, because you have to play king g6. If you don't play king g6, it's over. So now it will be a race. Which king comes into the center first? Bishop e7 should be played, not bishop d2. Why? If you play bishop d2, then king f1, king e2, and you will lose the tempo again. Okay, you will not lose the pawn, but bishop e7 also makes sure the knight c5 is prevented. That is another good reason. King f1 should be played, or perhaps f4, king f2, king e3. I think f4 is a better idea because white has a pawn majority on the king side, and that is not knight c5, not a good idea. White has a pawn majority on the king side of the board, so definitely white should focus his games on the king side of the board. Rajat says hi Rajat. I hope you're enjoying the live stream of the Federal Bank online chess competition. The tournament is only open for the Federal Bank employees and their family members and relatives. So bishop d8, king f1 was played, bishop c7, and now you can see black's bishop is a very awkward position. And well, when it is endgame, king is like a grown man who has to go out and venture out on his own. So what both sides need to do, especially black, I would say, is to bring the king out in the open. Oh no, the knight is trapped. The knight is trapped. Devraj's idea has worked beautifully. After king e7, king will have no escape. I'm sorry, the knight will have no escape. Of course, the king is not trapped. King is far from being trapped. And Devraj is going to win, and he will be 6 out of 6 at the end of round 6. Vidisha says, my opponent is not moving. Well, I don't know the reason behind it. Perhaps he or she got disconnected or left the computer or something like that. Only way to know is maybe the chief arbiter can investigate. I don't know. Bishop b6, king c4, king f6. Well, Vidisha, if your opponent is not moving, don't worry. Your opponent's clock is ticking. So when the clock will strike 0, you will get the point. So don't worry about that. Whatever is the time left on your opponent's clock, just wait out that time. King b5, bishop d8 saves all the pawns. What black needs to do in this position is to, okay, you can just not be bothered about that. Bishop e1, and black can just simply punch the pawns on the king side, g2 and h3, like Pac-Man eats all those dots in the grid. So yeah, king a5, bishop e1, and nothing is happening on the queen side of the board. Black is absolutely fine. White cannot push the a pawn while the king is on a5 because b takes a3 will be a discovered check, and even if you play king b5 or a4 and then you play a3, black will be happily exchanging off the pawns. Black needs to advance his king. King c4, king e5, king d3, king f4, king e2, king bishop c3. King f4 has to be played because you want to grab those pawns for free. You don't want to capture them by exchanging of pawns. Bishop c3. Anything is fine. I would say bishop c3 is much better because king g3 and you want to capture those pawns for free. Bishop c3, and if king f1 is split, then you will play bishop d4, absolutely, and that would be winning because you want to make sure that the white king cannot support the g2 pawn, and if g2 pawn is supported, then h3 will also be supported because they are the pawn chain. You know, to make a pawn chain you need minimum 2 pawns, just like to draw a straight line you need minimum 2 dots. There can be more, but minimum is 2. And yeah, black is still going to get the pawn. It's just a matter of time. Bishop d4 check, king h1, and now h5. It just force your opponent to run out of moves. h5, h4, gh4, a3, a4, ba3, b4, a2, b5, a1 queen or rook, and it's a checkmate. Black doesn't need to move the bishop or king. Let white force to move the h and a pawns. Once the a pawn moves, you munch on it, you capture it, you take it, push the a pawn, promote it, and you win the game. So Devraj is going to EP is there. Black should take it. That is called en passant. For those who do not know, it's a French word which means by the way. It's just like when you tell your friend, oh, by the way, when you come to my house, please bring this. Bring your exercise book or bring your video game or something like that. Bring your chessboard so that I can play a game of chess with you. I played on Leeches, but definitely I want to play a game of chess with you on a real, actual, physical board. And a1 queen or rook, whatever black promotes, it will be a checkmate. And Devraj is 6 out of 6. Let's see how many games are going. A lot of games are going on. This one will be over very soon. Bhargav is in deep trouble. Black needs to take on f3. Siddharth Path is going to win. Queen h2 check. King f1, g2 check, king moves to e2 or f2 anywhere, and then black promotes another queen. So queen h2 check is the need of the hour. That was played. King f2, g2, and now king e2 or king f2, whatever, and then g1 queen, and black will win. And in case you don't want the queen to be captured, yeah, that's interesting, Siddharth. Knight g1 knight. Why? He did that for simple reason, because even if you promoted the queen, white would have played rook g3 and exchanged the queen for a rook. Well, this is still a victory for black. And now queen d3 or queen c2, knight d2, knight d4. Yeah, anything is winning for black. King h7. Just put the king into shelter. Even if you put the king and f7, still it is winning for black. Devanjan Rudra is asking who is the arbiter. Ashit Bhattacharya. Yes, international arbiter Ashit Bhattacharya. He is the chief arbiter of the tournament. King h7, rook e1. So white is going for stalemate. Do not capture the e1 rook. Do not. Siddharth, if you capture the e1 rook, it will be a stalemate and the game will be drawn. Oops, queen b2, mouse slip, I guess. I think he meant queen c2, but unfortunately mouse slip or touchpad slip, whatever happened, whether he is playing on desktop or laptop, or could be on a mobile phone. This tournament can be played on a mobile phone or a tablet device also. I don't know what device he is using. Perhaps definitely he slipped, because queen b2 is something he did not, or he does not wanted to play it. Rook e2 check, rook c1, and king needs to go somewhere. King a1, yeah, knight b3 check, and white loses some more material. Knight c1, king c1, knight e4, and threatening a rook f1 checkmate in the next move. Vincent Singha says, I just won with my brother-in-law. Okay, that's fantastic. So in a game of chess, unlike any other sport, anyone can face anyone. So you can face your son, daughter, brother, sister, husband, wife, your boss even, or your student even. But that's the beauty of chess. Anyone can play against anyone. And rook f1 ends the game. So Bhargav was playing fantastic, but unfortunately, last couple of games, he just lost the rhythm and he lost again. Anyway, let's see the next game between Nigel James versus Devjyoti 03. Yeah, black is completely winning this game. So let's see, Nigel is from where? I saw it but I forgot. Yeah, Nigel James is from Shillong. He is representing the Guwahati region, and his opponent Devjyoti Bakshi is from Bardhaman branch of the Bardhaman cluster. So Nigel just gained the queen and he's winning this comfortably. Knight e6 check would have dropped the rook also, but he played knight f3. I mean, that is also fine, there's nothing wrong with it. Queen d4 check will be played in the next move, and then you gain the rook. Nigel James, you have to be quick because you're running very short on time. You have just 35 seconds left on the clock. You have to find a checkmate within the next 35 seconds, because Devjyoti has a lot of time and he's playing very fast. He offered the rook for free again, rook f5, and now is the time to capture the rook. Nigel, you cannot afford to take so much time to make one move, because sooner than later you will run out of time and all the advantage in the world will mean nothing then. Queen f3 checkmate, checkmate in one move. Oh my god. Devjyoti just gifted the point for free. He could have survived. If he survived the next 25 seconds, we do not know what would have happened. Anything could have happened. Anything. Anyway, so which game are we going to see? I think all games, all players are winning quite comfortably. Let's see what Swati Baheti is doing against Senlemzi. Swati is winning this. Yeah, checkmate is in the next move. Rook e6, checkmate. Tathagata Chatterjee is asking, will there be knockout after this? No, Tathagata, there is no knockout. As far as I know, only 8 rounds of Swiss League events, and that will be the final for this year's edition for Intra-Federal Bank E-Zone online chess competition. Rook e6 is a checkmate. White should be able to spot it and deliver the checkmate comfortably. Okay, let's see this one. This one should also be open in the next move. Orko Prio is playing against China 97, and China can deliver the checkmate with Rook F1. Okay, let's see the last game of this round or over. No, all games got over. No, last game is going on actually. So White promoted a queen. White has 1 minute 45 seconds. Yeah, it's plenty of time. White just needs to make sure that every move is a check. Queen e3 check, king f1, and rook d1 will be a checkmate. Best way to do checkmate when you have huge material advantage, just giving consecutive checks. Even if you don't know how to do checkmate in a particular position, or you forgot the theory, do not worry. Eventually, somehow you will end up doing a checkmate. Anyway, so 7th round is about to start in just over a minute. Tathagata 2000 and Debraj Bhattacharya both are leading, and I think both of them are from CB Kol, that is Zonal Office Kolkata. Debraj Bhattacharya is the husband of Riya Bhattacharya from Bardhaman cluster. Okay, so state of West Bengal, not Kolkata. Anyway, so let's see how many players are there. Two people are leading at 6 points. Only one player is at 5.5. And there are a bunch of players at 5 points. So from 4 to 12, 9 players are at 5 points. From 13 to 18, 6 players are at 4.5. From 19 to 40, so 22 players are at 4 points. From 41 to 51, 11 players are at 3.5. From 52 to 83, that is 32 players at 3 points. And from 84 to 91, 8 players at 2.5 points, and less than 10 seconds to go for the penultimate round to begin. This is the 7th round which is about to start. I think Tathagata will face Devraj in case they haven't faced each other already. Yes, they haven't faced each other, so it is Devraj versus Tathagata. This is almost a virtual final, you can say, because this match will decide, will play a huge role in deciding who will become the champion of the tournament. So their game has not started. Okay. No, the game has started. Remember, Leeches gives you 15 seconds to make the first move. The clock does not start until then. If you do not make a move within the first 15 seconds in a blitz match, then you lose. So that is why both players are utilizing the time to play the first move. Of course, they were either replenishing their energies by drinking water or having some snacks or have some juice. Because remember, playing chess, even though it's online and 10 minutes each, it is not easy to play so many games in such a short time, because this is the 7th consecutive game. Why? Because it is a well-known fact that one game of chess is equal to 3 rounds of boxing. Okay, the online chess is less taxing than a physical chess. Why? Because you're not physically moving the piece on the board or pressing the clock, but still you still have to use your hand to move the mouse or the touchpad to make the move on the board. So this is a Sicilian defense which we are witnessing, where black has taken a dragon-like structure. White has played the Moscow variation with bishop b5, captured on c6. The primary objective of playing Sicilian with black is to go with d5. So black got an opportunity to play d5 early in the game, but he's sticking to what he knows, that is the theory of dragon. That's why he played d6 to create the dragon, and instead of playing d5 he went with d6. Both players know that a lot is at stake, so none of them are taking any kind of Baby Joseph says, is it the right time to publish the names of the leading teams as per the rule? Okay, so I have no clue which teams are leading, so I cannot say anything about this. I can only say which players are leading individually. Anyway, so h3, knight h6, a3 castle. Now Generally, the knights and bishops are supposed to be developed at the center, but Tathagata made a wise decision, and you can see that it paid off because white blundered the knight with b4, and the c3 knight will drop. Bishop c3, and now rook must move. Rook has only two safe squares, b1 and a2. White took the knight at h6. Perhaps that is the reason he lured his opponent into capturing the c3 knight, because bishop c3 had bishop h6. So yeah, Devraj did not actually blunder a knight, but he blundered a b4 pawn, because once the rook moves, rook has to move somewhere, b1 preferably, and then cb4, ab4, rook b4, and white will lose the valuable b4 pawn. So cb4, ab4 was played, and now black should go with rook b4. Not bishop b4, it will be a blunder if you play bishop b4. Why? Because white will take advantage of the pin and white will play c3. a5. No, 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 no. Rook b4 had to be played. Tathagata, you missed a wonderful opportunity. You should have played rook b4, gained the valuable pawn, and that would have given you a huge advantage. a5, I don't see giving you any kind of advantage. Yes, white can take the pawn quite easily because b1 rook is well defended by the queen at d5. Rook b1, queen b1, and now queen a5 has to be played. Now the position is completely equal. Although black has the bishop pair and the position is relatively open, so black should try to capitalize on it. I would say Tathagata should try to exchange off queens at the right time so that he can, go into an endgame where he has a rook and bishop pair. But it's not going to be easy. Perhaps he should play queen h5 right now and drive the nagging bishop away from h6. Okay, bishop a6 is also fine, but at some point you have to play, perhaps now bishop e2 is a good move, because then rook will be forced to move either at c1, not either at c1. C1 is the only safe square, and then bishop f3, gf3, bd4. So yeah, black can gain a pawn over here. Mridal Shah says, can h4 h5 be played here with white to expose the black king? Yes, definitely. But the problem with h4 h5 is the moment you play h5, black will capture it with the queen, and white doesn't have sufficient pieces. So h5 at this particular position, I don't think is such a good idea. If white had more pieces, then definitely I would have considered. And now white lost a rook. Bishop f3, gf3, queen d2. Yes, and now Tathagata is going to win this quite comfortably. Just needs to make sure that he doesn't make any kind of blunder. Queen b2. Well, I think rook a8 or queen g5 first. Anything is winning for black. Yeah, rook a8 is fine. Queen g5 check, and then maybe rook a5, or rook a5 first with the idea of rook g5. Yeah, I think rook a5 is something I like more. Yeah, rook a4 is also fine. You're gaining the pawn, but I was going for the checkmate. That's why I suggested rook a5. Rook a5 would have met with h4, but then black would have gone with rook h5. Rook c4. Okay, the idea is simply rook c2, queen f2. Very good, Tathagata. You're going for checkmate. You're not interested in taking any kind of pawns. Yeah, rook c2 is fine. Queen b8 check has king g7, so white doesn't have enough time to create any kind of trouble with h6. Queen b8, king g7, h6, king h6, queen f8, king g5. Yeah, king can easily escape, or king h5 I would say is much better. h6, king h6, queen f8, king h5, and it stops all kinds of possible checks, and black's checkmate threat of queen f2, queen g2 will be absolutely unstoppable. Yeah, king h5. King g5 is also fine, but why would you allow one more check? Yeah, king h5. Fantastic, Tathagata. queen f2, and irrespective of whatever white plays, king h1 or h3, queen g2 checkmate, and when queen h2 is also checkmate. Queen h4 is also checkmate. Yep, it's all over. Fantastic play by Tathagata. He didn't seem weak for a moment. He played strong right out of the gate, and he is leading 7 out of 7. Wonderful. So there is a material imbalance between Phantom Alex and AK Land TJ, but White has advantage, I would say. Why? Because two minor pieces is much more stronger than a rook, and Black doesn't have sufficient compensation for a rook against two minor pieces. So Phantom Alex should win this. Oops, e5 dropped. He dropped e5. He should have played f6, and f6 could have helped Black to survive a bit longer. So maybe moment of lapse of concentration, momentary blind spot can cause all this, and now White is winning this comfortably. Knight d4, knight f5. White should just activate his pieces, and he should not rush in pushing the pawns, because the more you push the pawns, the more it will be weaker. But there is not a single weakness in White's camp in this particular position. Let's see the names one more time. Phantom Alex is Purbanno, 12-year-old from Guwahati, representing Guwahati region. Black, I do not know for sure who he is. Bishop c7 and a5 is under attack. Rook e6 is forced if Black wants to hold on to the a5 pawn for a bit longer. Then White has knight e7 check and knight d5 and so on. Black decided that no, it is a lost cause to save the a5 pawn, so decided to play rook e8, and now White played rook takes a5. Oops, that's a blunder. Bishop takes e5. White took it immediately. Rook e5, and now White has huge material advantage. Knight h6. Knight will come back to g4. Push the rook back so that he can take the c5 pawn for free. Knight f7. Oops, the rook also drops. Knight e5. Yeah, Black is completely given up hope, I think. What he is aiming for is he is going to give up all his pieces and hope for a stalemate. That is I think what he is aiming for, because he knows that this game cannot be saved any longer. So he's trying to give up all his pieces and make sure that he runs out of moves. At some point he's going to play g4, and he did that right now. King f4. Yeah, it's not a stalemate yet. White just needs to make sure that every move is a check. Rook g5 should lead to a checkmate. Rook g5, king f4, queen e5 mate, or rook g5. Oops! And still it should be a checkmate. Queen h5, king g3, rook f3 mate, or queen h5, king g3, queen h3 mate. Anything is fine. Yep, it's a checkmate. Rook f3. Okay, so let's see the next game between Siddharth Pati versus Indrajit S. Siddharth Pati is going to lose the e2 rook because it's a skewer. Skewer is just the inverse of pin. When there is a piece behind an attacked piece, and it is a lesser valued piece. In pin is just the opposite. The attacked piece is of equal value or of higher value than the hidden piece. Anyway, so bishop f1, Black is ahead by a rook, and now b4 pawn will roll. b3, I think Black can even play b3 right now. There's nothing wrong with it because there's so much of material advantage. Vidisha says Vidisha VD 123 28 9 20. Okay, I don't know what you meant by that. Maybe you are playing against VD123, that's your opponent. Anyway, let's get back to the game. So yeah, Black is winning. Black just needs to be careful about the back rank. So h6, even bishop e6 is also fine. Just putting a blockade in the e1 rook's path. Bishop f5. So white is luring black into capturing it. Remember, Indrajit, not to capture the f5 bishop. If you capture, then the game will be over. Of course, Indrajit is wise enough to know that that's a poisoned bishop. It's not a good idea to capture it. Black should go with h6 g5. I don't know why he's stalling that idea. f6 is also fine. Indrajit is playing in a very principled way. He's playing king f8. He wants to bring his king into the action. Vishwanath says, appreciate your knowledge and deep-rooted analysis of the game. Thank you, Vishwanath. King f8, I guess he wants to bring his king out in the open. King e7, king f6, and then play g5. I don't see any good way for white to defend it. Perhaps white should simply take bishop e6, I think. But then also, I think rook f3 check should lead to a checkmate sooner than later. Yeah, Siddharth decided to take it because it doesn't have much going in the position, and clock is also not on his side. So yeah, things are not going well. Rook g3 check first, because black has all the time in the world to take on e6. And now he cannot play rook h3 because the e6 bishop is looming large. So perhaps f e6 first. Yes. And once white takes it, then rook h3 check. King g4, h5. Yeah, anything and everything is winning for black. Okay, black is aiming for g5 check, king h5, and rook h3 bet. This is what he is aiming for. That is the reason he played rook g1. And I don't see any way for white to defend it. Yeah, g5 check, king h5, and rook h3 bet. I hope Indrajit played. Yes, he definitely played rook g1 for that reason. Oh, Vidisha is saying that her ID is VD123 and she's just 10 years old. She took part in this event and she's having a lot of fun. Good to know, Vidisha. And here Indrajit has won the game. Let's move on to the next game. This one we are going to see Sanjay for you 007 versus Animesh Mohanty. Sanjay is in a difficult position. I don't think king h2 is a good idea, but of course he wants to, hold on to as many pawns as possible. Black is completely winning. Animesh Mohanty. Let's see where Sanjay is from. Let me check my list for a moment. Sanjay Kumar is from C1 branch of the Patna cluster, and his opponent Animesh Mohanty is from Dhanbad cluster. He is the son of Rajiv Lochan Mohanty. Rook e5, of course, Animesh is making sure that he keeps his pawns alive. Although he could have played g4, I think, but yeah, his rook was on e3, so g4 was not possible. Rook d4. Now I think black can play g4. Even rook b2 is also fine. Black should take on b2, king a6. Black needs to keep the pawn alive. Rook b2 followed by rook e2 would be good for black, because then g2 will fall and it will help black to deliver the checkmate. Rook g7. Yep, rook b2 was played. And now black's idea is simple. Create a battery of rooks on the second rank, so that it helps black to deliver the checkmate in a quicker manner. c4, rook e2 should be played. That was the reason. Rook b2. Yes, Animesh definitely knows what he is doing. That is the reason he decided to take on b2 first, so that he can bring the other rook into action. And now g2 cannot be defended by any means. White can play rook g5, aiming for capture of the h5 pawn, but that won't matter much because white has one last trick. That is bishop f4, bishop b8, and go for rook b8 checkmate. Of course, it won't be easy because black will keep giving consecutive checks and pick up the bishop. So yeah, there is that. And now black can play rook gc2. Animesh should move the rook anywhere in the second rank, which is safe. h4, and no longer bishop f4 idea works, because then rook bf2 check and bishop will drop. Yeah, now the thread is simple. Black wants to go with rook b1 and it's over. Rook b1, bishop c1, rook c1, and it's a checkmate. Okay, h2 rook g1 is also there. There's nothing wrong with this. This idea also takes equal amount of time to deliver checkmate. And now rook g1 is a checkmate. Not rook b1. Do not play rook b1 because then king g2 and white will win the game. Yep, rook g1 and checkmate was delivered. Animesh Mohanty won. A lot of games are on. Let's see this one. A lot of pieces are there on the board. But Amarjit is running short on time. Oh my god. He has positional advantage. He has advantage. Fantastic position he has. But unfortunately, time was not on his side. That's why he lost the game. So which game are we going to see? I think this one just got over. This one. Okay, let's see this one. Yeah, this is also winning for James, and he has plenty of time on the clock, so he just needs to play carefully and score a victory. Perhaps g4 g5 check should be an interesting idea, since the knight at e8 is defended and it is controlling an important g7 square, so he should not be bothered about moving the knight from e8. Let it be there. He played knight f6. I think he is aiming for rook h8 to h7 checkmate, but I would have preferred to have the knight on e8. Anyway, black gave up the d7 bishop. Knight f6 was played with the idea of capturing the d7 bishop. So knight f6, g5. Yeah, white should take the bishop. Okay, he's going for checkmate, but what if black plays king g7? He did not play that. Knight g4. He should have played rook h7. That would have helped white to deliver the checkmate. King g7, and now white is in a pickle. White has to save both rook and bishop, and that can only be done if white plays rook d8. White is running very low on time. Oh my god, he has only 19 seconds left on the clock. James, you need to hurry up, because you are the one who has a winning position in this particular game. But if you don't play quickly, then you will run out of time, and all the advantage in the board will mean nothing. Come on, James, you can win this. Sujit, play quickly, because you have an opportunity to defeat your opponent in time. No, you should have taken the rook. A rook's value is 5 points and knight's value is 3 points. So rook's value is 2 points more than a knight. A rook g8, and now white is going to go for g4 g5 checkmate. Quickly, James, you have to play. Okay, rook f1 is also fine. Rook f6 checkmate. Come on, do it. Yes. With 8 seconds left on the clock, James delivered the checkmate. Fantastic, James. So last round will take place, and Tathagata has almost won the tournament. Why am I saying almost? I think his tiebreaker is also good, so even if he loses. But of course, you don't want to lose in the last round when you played so well in the first 7 rounds with 7 out of 7. So minimum he just needs a draw. But what's better than 7 out of 7 or 7.5 out of 8? 8 out of 8. So Tathagata, you should definitely go for 100% score to win the tournament. Phantom Alex and Maulik Dev, Devraj Bhattacharya, and Nishan 2020, Abhishek Shaha, and Indrajit is. So 6 players are at 6 points, but none of them will be able to catch up to Tathagata even if he loses, because his tiebreak is ahead. But Tathagata obviously should go for a draw or win. You should not finish the tournament on a low note. You should finish it in a high note. Anyway, let's see how many players are at 5.5 from 8 to 11. So 4 players are at 5.5 from 12 to 26. That is 15 players are at 5 points. From 27 to 34, 8 players are at 4.5. From 35 to 60, 26 players are at 3.5. And from 61 to 69, 9 players are at 3.5 points. Anyway, so last round is about to begin. Let's see who Tathagata will face. I don't know. Tathagata faced Nishan, so I think he has already played against Phantom and Maulik Dev. Tathagata is playing with white pieces, and he started with e4 confidently. His opponent played e5 very quickly. Bishop c4, so he plays the bishop's opening. Bishop c4, bishop c5. Will Tathagata go for queen f3? No, he's a very principled player. He does not want to go for queen f2, queen h5 and go for any kind of scholar's mate because he knows that does not work against strong players, and he's going for Geico piano or Gioco piano or Italian opening. In various parts of the world it is pronounced as various names, so that's why I tried to say all of them as much as I knew. C3 theory is knight f6 and queen e7 also. Queen e7 is sideline. A6 is definitely not the recommended move. D4, ed4 and cd4 is the principal move. Bishop b4, bishop d2 is the main line. Knight c3 is the old outdated line which is not the best move anymore. Yeah, knight c3 in this particular line can be played because the knight is not at f6, so black is not getting the e4 pawn. D6, white can play bishop g5 or maybe knight g5 is also possible, I think, attacking the f7 pawn, and black will be very uncomfortable in defending the f7 pawn with playing moves like knight h6. Yes, Dhruv Nair, I agree with you. Tathagata throughout the tournament has played well. He didn't show any kind of weakness even for a moment. It's as if he's well prepared and he's quite strong. Although if you go by his leeches rating, then it does not reveal how strong he is. So we should not judge a player's strength from the leeches rating, which is just only 1436. Even I saw some players who has 1800 or 1900 plus rating. So yeah, that does not mean anything. Black can defend the f7 pawn with queen e7 and knight h6. Knight h6 of course is not the best way because knight h6 if you play then bishop h6, g8 and f7 will fall. So queen f6 was played and now white can play bishop g5 and create some more annoyance for the black queen. But bishop g5 does not guarantee the dropping of the f7 pawn. Just like knight g5, knight g5 means black will play knight h6, but then white will play f1 and have total control of the center, which is white is already enjoying. Black is playing very fast but not very accurately. Of course, when you're writing very fast, your handwriting just goes haywire. It's like when you're bowling very fast, you tend to deliver more no balls or more wide deliveries. Or in football, when you try to play very fast, when you try to kick the ball too hard, instead of aiming for the goalpost, you aim for the stadium, the fans. Anyway, bishop d3 was played, a very good move I would say, because the idea is simple. White wants to play knight h7, then if you play king h7, white will play e5, a discover check and the queen will drop. That is the reason behind bishop d3. A very subtle move. Chess is a game where you have to show a lot of subtlety, your art and creativity, and that will reflect. Excellent play by Tathagata. I don't see any good way for black to defend h7 unless black plays g6. b5 was played, which is not the best move, and white should play knight h7. Even if white plays e5, that is fine, but I would definitely prefer knight h7 over e5. Yes, Tathagata played that. He played knight h7. And black has to move the queen. Taking is a terrible idea. If you take the knight, e5, discover check, and you drop the queen. Queen does not have a lot of safe squares. Queen e7 is the best move I would say. Queen e7, even queen h4 is also fine. But definitely not queen e6 because knight f8, king f8 and then d5, or first d5 and then knight f8, king f8 and white get huge material advantage. So between e7, d8 and h4, perhaps okay, queen g6 and then knight f8 I think. Yeah, knight f8, king f8. E5 cannot be played because the bishop is not supported. So f4, yeah, f3 is also fine. And g2 can be saved easily. Queen c2. Even rook f2 is also fine, but I would prefer queen c2. Why? Because that will defend the d3 bishop so that you are prepared to play e5, discover attack in the next move. A rook f2 saves the checkmate. Yeah, white should play bishop h6 as the next move. Bishop h6, which will force black to play g6 and then e5 or queen d3, g3 and so on. White is winning this completely. So yeah, white needs to play just carefully enough to score a victory in this. Bishop d7 was played and I think queen d5 or even bishop h6 is also fine. Because white is ahead in material, so there should not be any worry for white to exchange pieces. A4, okay, a4 is also fine. White wants to Open up the queenside rook a1 path by opening up the a file. Rook a4 will run into knight e5 or not. No, knight e5 does not work. Yeah, Tathagata spotted it, so that's why he decided to play queen c4 for the simple reason that d3 bishop is well defended, so that when he plays rook a4, knight e5 kind of tricks does not work. And not only that, after queen c4, white has d5 as a threat, so that once the knight moves, then he has queen c7. But unfortunately, d4 immediately does not work because d5 runs into knight e5, and if you take queen c7, the knight d3 is coming. Primary threat behind queen c4 is simple. White wants to play e5, a discover attack on the queen. Let's see what the other plays. I think he will go with e5. Baby Joseph says your commentary forced me to be in the game from 10:30 am. Thank you, Baby Joseph, for enjoying the commentary. Queen a6. Oh no, Tathagata. No, not in trouble. He played knight b8. For a moment, I switched my eyes from the commentary screen to the screen. I thought it's white to play. No, Queen b7. So Tathagata is cruising towards victory. But one thing what he needs to do is he needs to activate more pieces into the game. He needs to bring the rook into the game. The a1 rook is not doing much. He needs to participate. Like I said, it's a big party where you want to invite all of your friends and relatives, your neighbors and everyone. Rook a4 is not a blunder in case anyone is wondering, because bishop a4 runs into queen c8 check, and that drops the b8 knight also. So Tathagata definitely has a lot of skill without a shadow of doubt, and perhaps he might even have a FIDE rating also. Who knows? Rook d8 attacks the rook, so rook 8 should be played to attack the b8 knight. But rook a8 might run into bishop c6, so that has to be dealt with carefully. So perhaps rook a7. Yeah, even rook a3 is also fine. There's nothing wrong with it. But Tathagata is playing, very conservatively, I should say, because he's playing very safe. Although he has a huge advantage, but he is not going for any big chances. He's not taking any kind of risk, which is fine, I would say, because when you're playing for championship, yeah, d5 should be played now. White gains huge material. d5, and once the queen moves, then you just simply take the c6 knight. Queen e5, and white can just simply take on c6, dc6. Queen c5, and then it wouldn't be a problem. Queen d8, and white will win easily. Queen e7 has to be played, but then d7 bishop is gone. So king e7 was played, but then also white can play cd7, cd7, rook d7, and then queen c4. Just save the queen. I mean, anything is fine. I just suggested one particular square, queen c4, not necessarily that is the best one. So Tathagata is not in a rush to capture the d7 bishop. Why? Because the d7 bishop is in an absolute queen. Like I said before, if a piece is in front of the king and the piece is under attack, that means the piece is in a pin. And what kind of piece is it? It is absolute pin. So the idea with bishop e3 is to play bishop b6 and attack the rook on d8, so that once the rook is forced to move, then white will take the d7 bishop with the queen. f5 was played. Bishop g5, bishop b6, both are fine. I think bishop g5 is more definite because it comes with a check where you are forced to move the king and then you get the rook for free. So yeah, I think white should play bishop g5. After bishop g5, no matter wherever the king goes, white will just simply take the rook. However, if the king goes to f7, then white will take the rook with the bishop. Why? So that white is guaranteed to gain the bishop in the next move. Tathagata is taking his time. He is not in a hurry. He was contemplating bishop b6 or bishop g5. Which one is much more definite? Of course, bishop g5 is much more definite because it comes with a check. Check means forced, where black has to deal with the attack of the king. And king f7 means bishop d8 is the best move because you want to gain the bishop at d7 in the next move. If you play queen d8, then black can save the bishop. cd7. Well, cd7 is much more interesting. He is actually not giving a chance to the rook to move, because if he moves the rook, then d8 queen will be a discovered check and white promotes the second queen, which means white is just that much closer to a victory. So excellent play from Tathagata. And few moments ago, I was saying that he was playing conservatively, he was playing slowly, he was playing cautiously, carefully, which is true. When the championship is on the line and when you have played so well throughout the tournament, you should not make unnecessary risks. Why? Because we have already seen in a couple of games where someone who was leading the tournament or someone who was completely winning the game, he just lost his focus for a moment and that cost him the entire game. Tathagata is making sure that that does not happen with him. The reason behind f4 is quite simple. Once the queen loses the control of the e8 square, he will play queen e8 check, or first play e5, which is also fine. There's nothing wrong. I was hoping for queen e8 check, king h7, and then rook a8. But yeah, this is also fine. Queen e8 I think should be played now. King g4, h3, king g3, and where is the checkmate? Okay, one more move will be required to play queen e2 followed by queen f3 checkmate. Bishop e2. Yeah, I think bishop e2, knight g4, queen e8 is much better and quicker. Yeah, checkmate in two moves. Tathagata is wondering which is the fastest checkmate over here, because he does not want to leave an inch to his opponent to make a comeback. But he played queen e8. I think bishop e2 was fine, but this is also fine. It's the same way, king g4 and bishop e2. Just the interchange of the move order. Bishop e2 and game over. Even queen e2 is also game over. And Tathagata becomes the champion. Yep. So Tathagata wins the game, and he is also the tournament. He's finished at 8 out of 8. Anyway, still a couple of games are on. Let's take a quick look at them. Monik Dev is playing, and wow, what an interesting position. White is down by a rook, but that does not stop him from making a checkmate threat of his own. Rook g3 check, I think first should be played before playing queen f6. Black is also going for rook h1, queen e1, some kind of tricks. So it will be very interesting to see who delivers the checkmate first. I think black will be able to do first, unless white can create something. White can find something very quickly. King h8 is a blunder because queen f6, queen g7 check, then white will win. So black has to play king f8. King h7 is also a blunder because queen f8 check, king h8, queen f6, king h7, queen g7 met. The only way for black to survive this is to play king f8. No, Devraj, you have blundered, and that's a terrible, terrible mistake. Queen f5 check, and white is going to win. You do not get the time to play rook h1 and deliver the checkmate. If you had played king f8, it would be you who would have walked away with the full point, but unfortunately, that is not the case. After queen f8 check, king has to go back to h8 at the corner of the board, then white takes the knight, king again has to come back to h7, and then white delivers the checkmate by bringing the queen to h7. Wow, Devraj has also played fantastic throughout the tournament, but then again, it is Maulik who had the final laugh at the end because he finished it quite strong. Let's not take anything away from Maulik. He was also having a fantastic tournament, but in the end, he finished it strong. So, it does not matter in the game of chess if you're down by a material. What matters is who is the one who is attacking and has a definite attack, especially towards the king. That is exactly what Maulik had. Anyway, let's see this next game, Sumant Singh. So Maulik will probably finish at second position. Sumant Singh is attacking and material is equal. It's a very strange game, I should say, that white's bishop is stuck at c1. It did not move, although white's king has managed to walk all the way from e1 to c1, and white's a1 rook developed from a3 to c3 and so on. So yeah, it's quite interesting. Should white exchange the queens? Of course not, because it is white who is dominating the position. White has total control. Why should he exchange the queens? He should play simply queen c4 and have the provision of swinging the queen from the queen side to the king side. Queen c4, queen g4, queen g7. That should be his idea, because unfortunately he cannot gain an entry from the queen side of the board. And queen c4 not only has the threat of queen g4, queen g7, but also threatens the knight at g8. No, he exchanged off the queens. No, rook g3. No, that's not a good idea. Rook g3, rook g7. But why wouldn't you capture the queen? Black can play king d6 now, right? Okay, you have rook d7, but again, Suman Singh had a fantastic advantage, but now he is very short on time, and well, I don't see White winning this in the next 45 seconds by any means. It's okay, Vidisha, even if you lost, it's not a problem. The result is not important. What's important is you played 8 games today and you had a lot of fun. What? Why would Suman play rook e8? I have no idea. There is no checkmate. And now black is winning. Black should simply just take the bishop at c1, queen c1, and then rook g7, and black is winning. Jitendra Jain, Dhruv Nair congratulated Tathagata for fantastic win. Queen c4 check. Black is in a hurry to deliver the checkmate, but unfortunately queen is not enough to deliver the checkmate. You should play rook g7 first, get the material, and then later on, you will go for checkmate. Take the rook on g7. Nope. Black is just busy giving checks. Okay, somehow that is working in his favor, but I don't think it will work for long. I don't think black should keep giving checks, because if you keep giving checks, there is a possibility of perpetual check draw or a threefold repetition. But your opponent does not even need to claim. Server will automatically detect, although you have captured a pawn, so that count has reset. But at some point, black should take the rook and stop giving checks. White should be very happy eating up all those checks. Oops, this position repeated twice. So server is detecting it. If Suman Mickey repeats this again, then it will automatically detect as a draw. But unfortunately, that did not happen. It did not repeat the moves. So be careful for those who are watching. Do not repeat moves, especially in a winning position like that. Anyway, so Ashish is playing against IB Walker 27. Ashish should win this comfortably. Knight g4, fg4, queen g4, king Huzaifa, queen h3 check. Eliminate immediate threats. That's what he should do. But yeah, even if it doesn't take, still it's a victory for him. It doesn't have a lot of time. So let's see who is Ashish. Ashish Gupta is from Dimapur, Guwahati region, and his opponent is IB Walker. IB Walker is Abhishek Juardar from Bardhaman district. So it is Guwahati versus Bardhaman district. Ashish, you need to rush. You have only 18 seconds left on the clock. You have to win very quickly. You should have played queen f5, swing the bishop all over the board. Bishop f5, bishop d8. It will be a long route. No, you have to be very quick. 17 seconds left on the clock. Should have played knight f5 check or queen f5. King g3, and now black is going to hide the king at the h2. Oh my god. Are we going to see black winning the game? There is a very good chance black will win the game. King h2 should be played, and black took 10 seconds left on the clock. White should rush. Queen h5 should be played, or maybe king f2 first to defend the rook. White is running out of time. Ashish, what are you doing? Oh no, Ashish cannot win this. It's almost impossible. He needs to make all pre-moves. He has 0.12 seconds left and game over. Ashish lost the game. Anyway, let's see what happens. Manoj MK. So Cheyenne needs to play very quickly. First things first, get rid of the bishop. Play queen e2, irrespective of whatever black. No, if white moves the bishop, then you cannot play queen e2. Queen f2, queen f3. Get rid of the bishop. Otherwise, if you run out of time, you can probably lose the game. Is there a way to checkmate? Yeah, I think it should be a draw. But then again, what server response, I do not know for sure. Anyway, now that I have captured the bishop, you are safe. Shine is not losing this, but he has to be very careful. Yeah, keep giving checks. Queen gg6, and it will be a checkmate. 9 seconds left. King e7, queen e3. Oh my god, don't prolong it. It's just a checkmate. Just keep giving checks. Keep the queens close to each other. Again, queen 1 g6 checkmate. Another opportunity to deliver checkmate. Wow, 0.46 seconds left on the clock. So another close finish. Shine should have won this quite comfortably, but he took a bit longer. Anyway, at the end of the day, he won. So let's see who became champion. Okay, it was not a secret. We all knew it. Tathagata. Now let me see where he's from. So Tathagata Chattopadhyay, son of Dibendu Chattopadhyay from CV Coal branch of Zonal Office Kolkata, has won the tournament with 100% score, 8 out of 8. So congratulations Tathagata. 3 players finished at 7 out of 8, and they are Maulik Dev, Indrajit S and Abhishek Shaha. I will tell you where they are from. Maulik Dev, he is the son of Priyatosh Dev. He is from the Guwahati region, from Tinshukia branch. He finished at second position with 7 points out of 8. He's lost only one game. So another fantastic performance by Maulik. Indrajit S also scored 7 out of 8. Indrajit Singh is from Govindpur branch of Dhanbad cluster. He finished at third position. Abhishek Shaha is from Kolkata Bevribag branch of the Kolkata region. He finished at fourth position. Kiran 06, the only person who has scored 6.5 out of 8. Kiran Shukla, she is the spouse of Nikhil Tiwari from Nadigaon branch of Balasore cluster. She finished 5th. Phantom Alex scored 6 out of 7. A lot of players have finished at 6 out of 7. According to tiebreaks, their rankings are decided. Phantom Alex is Purbanna Lakka Kalita from Guwahati branch of Guwahati region. He is 12 years 9 months old. He's a very young player who has finished in top 10. Siddharth Pati also scored 6 out of 8. Siddharth is Pati of Paradip branch of Bhubaneswar region. Mickey 72. Let's see where Mickey is from. Mickey's name is Mukul Kureja. Mukul is from Kolkata Baravazar, from Kolkata region. He finished at 8th position. Bhargav 0038. Bhargav Jyoti Saikia is from Tezpur branch of the Guwahati region. He finished 9th, scoring 6 points out of 8 rounds. Shivam is the brother of Kishan Kanaya. Shivam Singh Kashyap from Nirsa branch of Dhanbad cluster has finished at 10th position. 11th position went to Nishant 2020. Nishant Pradeep, brother of Prashant Pradeep of Jamshedpur Golmuri branch of Dhanbad cluster, has finished at 11th position. Mr. Ropit Tandon is from Kolkata Credit Hub branch of Zonal Office Kolkata. He finished at 12th position. Devraj, who had a fantastic tournament but unfortunately lost in the last round, he is the husband of Riya Bhattacharya of Bardhaman district from Bardhaman cluster. A fantastic tournament. Unfortunately, a loss in the last round cost him some places. He finished at 13th position. Anil 3459. Anil Kumar Sahu of Paradip branch of Bhubaneswar region. He finished at 14th position. Spandan GG. Spandan Ghosh, son of Devjit Ghosh of Newmarket branch of Kolkata region. He finished at 15th position. So these were the top 15. And now let's see the messages from the officers, players, spectators, and relatives. Jishnu Bhattacharya says, very well played, Tathagata. Vincent Singer says, thanks a lot for engaging us in this pandemic. Great commentary. You guys are well experienced, it seemed. Some prizes for you, and congrats, Tathagata. Yes, thank you, Vincent. Yes, I am actually an editor and senior coordinator of ChessBase India. So every day I'm involved in chess. International arbiter Ashit Bishi Baran Chaudhary says, thanks all viewers, players, organizers. Thank you very much, Mr. Ashit Baran Chaudhary, for successfully conducting this tournament smoothly. Maulik Dev says, my opponent made a blunder in last round. Also, I should have won in round 4. I was rook up against bishop. Yes, Maulik, you're a very strong player. I think you should practice daily. And whenever you get some time, play some chess tournaments when things become normal. Till then, you should practice playing in leeches, because always you will find human opponents. And I would definitely recommend you playing as human opponents instead of computers. Neeraj Raut says, best wishes to Animesh. Tathagata Chatterjee says, thank you. So Tathagata, the person who won, he is here in the chat with us. Baby Joseph says, increase the volume. Baby Joseph, I'm very sorry for the issue with the mic. I don't know, the mic is having some trouble. I will definitely look into it. It's a hardware issue. And yes, so that was all for today. 142 players participated. I hope everyone enjoyed. Once again, thanks to Federal Bank for organizing this beautiful event, to make sure that all the Federal Bank officers, employees, and their family, relatives, everyone engages in a beautiful game of chess. 142 players played. A lot of games happened in this last couple of hours. Now, before I sign off, I must share this good news with you. A lot of players who do not know even whether you play chess regularly or do you just like to follow chess. Today, from 4:30 p.m. Indian Standard Time, India will play against Russia. That is, Team India will play against Team Russia. It is a team championship FIDE online Olympiad. This is the first time chess Olympiad is taking place in online, and it is the finals. You can follow it live on YouTube channel. That is the Chess India channel, the company which I work for. So you can visit over there. You will see some expert commentary and the live games also, so that even like I am doing commentary, they will explain the game to you and you can cheer for Team India. And let's hope that Team India beats Russia and wins a gold today. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I'll just quickly go through the remaining standings. So from 17 to 23, 5.5 points. From 24 to 42, 5 points. From 43 to 52, 4.5 points. From 53 to 76, 4 points. 77 to 86, 3.5 points. 87 to 105th position, 3 points. 106 to 111, 2.5 points. 111 to 121, 2, 101.5, 122.